closing my windows so that doesn't
Twitch.
confuse me. All right, I see us on Restream. I see us on Twitch and YouTube. Looks like
There we are. Excellent. That should make some people happy now, right? That we're here.
At least Bruce.
At least Bruce. Hey, Bruce. All right. Jesse, you ready?
Hi.
Justin, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I was born ready.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 388, recorded on August 18th, 2022. On tonight's episode, we talk about Justin's return. Yay! A little bit of Nintendo news and your questions. Jesse, you know what to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome. Guess who's back sitting in the host seat? Man, am I happy to be here. Of course, I am your host with the most, Mr. Justin Masson, and on joining me today on this dumpster fire of a podcast, two of the coolest guys around the internet that I have missed a great deal. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me tonight, the man behind the soundboard, the man, the myth, the legend, that he is for pressing buttons, making us sound good. And of course, the Nintendo Dad's 8-year running Employee of the Year, Mr. Jesse Waldack. Jesse, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. It's been one of those normally busy weeks, but I was able to get some gaming in this time. And in addition, and I'll talk about it more, but I got my Japanese 3DS in, and I did a mod on it, and I have some games installed on it, so... And everything worked without any problems.
Very nice. I am excited to hear about that. So are we going to be? It's also for those of you that are not on the live show. Is that pink? Is that what that is?
It is pink.
Okay, because I was like, I'm not.
Pink on the front and back, and then white on the inside.
Wow. So are you now able to actually stream like DS games? Is that what you're doing here?
No. It's not that type of mod. It's a mod where I can backload games. I can rip my cartridges and store them on the SD card so I can play them without the cart.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
Crazy. Awesome. Oh my gosh, look at this. We are hitting a hype train already. Now in Twitch. Hype train is hit. Wow, thank you.
I didn't think we ever did hype trains. How does that work?
We did before, actually, because I have a hype train on my name from doing it before.
There you go. Wow. Well, thank you to our Twitch followers jumping in here. Man, that's a nice way to start a show, right? Good night, folks. That's it. Well, it's great to be here. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're watching us on Twitch, who right now I would say is looking like they're, maybe trying to do their best Justin Masson impression with glasses, red hats, and black ear cans. Of course, I'm lying. I'm more doing an impression of Mr. Timothy. Oh, how are you, Tim?
I'm doing excellent. Happy to be here. Happy to have you back, Justin. And
thank you.
And missing Marty, of course. He's out partying too hard, of course. So, we had to give him a break.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, it's I'm having a blast. Just I got a lot of tech around me recently because of all the things that something new I get to test out. A couple new things I got to test out. One that we did a video on, and another one that I'll talk about later. But all these tech things, I love it. How you doing, Justin?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Hey, thanks. It's it has been. I think it's been just about 2 months since I've been on this show in official capacity, sitting with you folks, having a conversation about video games. It's been great. I just got back. For those of you that don't know, follow me on social media. I just got back from a 2-week East Coast Canada tour with my family, where we got to go to all 4 provinces. We flew into to Nova Scotia, and we drove down through Nova Scotia, cross ferry to New Brunswick, spent a couple of days in New Brunswick, went up to PEI, Prince Edward Island, spent some great days there. Had an amazing, kid you not, absolutely amazing, the best grilled cheese sandwich I've ever had in my life at a place called Moo Moo Grill, or Moo Moo grilled cheese, and it was absolutely incredible. No Quebec. No
What's the
Quebec.
secret
I do
ingredient?
apologize. I see the chat coming in here. Bruce saying, yeah, I apologize. Yeah, very sad. I have been to Quebec before, but I was not there this time. Spent a couple days in PEI, then we came across ferry back to Halifax, spent a couple days in Halifax, then flew over to Newfoundland and spent 3 to 4 days in Newfoundland. I think it was 4 days in Newfoundland. Ladies and gentlemen, while I was there, we attended a concert. Let me tell you who was in this concert. First, Timber, who is a singer local to Newfoundland. So I didn't really know his music. Next,
that sounds very Canadian.
Yeah, very, very Canadian. I'm pretty sure his name was Timber. Next, ladies and gentlemen, the Gin Blossoms. All right, you guys should know the Gin Blossoms, right?
That's something I've at least heard of. Yes.
Yeah. You know, hey, jealousy, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
And then we're going up one. Now, this is a very Canadian band. I'm going to check if you guys have heard Our Lady Peace.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then
Nope,
Our
nope.
Lady Peace came out and played. Get out of here. You haven't
That's
heard Our
awesome.
Lady Peace?
That's some
Yeah.
90s stuff. You got a 90s
Oh, ladies and
concert
gentlemen,
right
it's
there.
not done yet. It's not done yet. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's 3 a.m. and I'm lonely. I'm going to push you around. A little bit of real world, a little bit of long day. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite bands, my wife's absolute favorite band, Matchbox 20.
Nice. There you go.
Finished off the night, and it was an absolutely fantastic show, fantastic time. But yeah, we're just getting back, kind of still feeling a little bit on the Newfoundland time, 3.5 hours ahead of where I am locally. But it was absolutely fantastic.
Then Friendo asked if Weird Al opened.
You know what? I've seen Weird Al live, and he's fantastic. Right? It's absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Yes. Chad says #jealousy. Love it. What year is it? 1996, I think. Right? That is a 1996 lineup if I have ever heard of one.
Heck yeah.
And it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. But man, I could talk about my vacation all day long as well. But that's not why we're here. Of course, we're here to talk about all the nerdy Nintendo news for the week. So we're going to run it down as part of the news. Timothy off. I like to throw awkward passes to people and segues. Who is our news brought to us by today?
By patreon.com/Nintendo Dads and all our Patreons there.
Good. Excellent. You have
Because
done
if
that
you threw
well.
it to me, I probably would have dropped that
Ladies
ball.
and gentlemen, entering in. Ladies, I don't even, man, it could not have been better. Man, I'm excited to see this man. He is back. He is live with us now, coming in our fourth phase. This is, ladies and gentlemen, a Nintendo Dads reunion tour. Mr. Marty Estes joining the call. Marty, how are you, sir?
In the nick of time, right?
In the nick of time.
We were just about to transition to the news.
I did not think I was going to be here tonight. It's been a week, guys. It's been a week. So
Well,
let's put
hopefully
it
we
there.
can help get your mind off of things.
no,
and,
I mean, here's the thing. All's
talk
well that ends
Nintendo.
well, right? So
Yes.
it's been a good evening.
Good.
It's been a good evening. I love a good redemption story. And so
Good.
For those of you who have no clue what I'm talking about I guess it was 2 hours ago, I messaged these guys and I was like, hey, I know I said I was going to be on this week, but we're in family crisis mode right now. And I don't know. I really don't think I'm going to make it tonight. And here we are. So
Here we are.
I'm excited because
hey.
you're here.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Justin's here. I'm excited. Everybody's here.
Everybody's here.
But I also feel very inadequate because I'm not wearing glasses or a hat.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, look at us. All right. Who would have thought? Look at us. Huh? Yeah. Right. Who would have? Who knows? Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, it's
Now, look
Chad.
more-
It says the 4 housemen of the Nintendo apocalypse have arrived.
Yeah. Also, I rarely say this, but I want to give Jesse
man.
Waldak a round of applause.
What I do
Because
now?
if you're watching on the Twitch stream, he sets us up for 3 faces. All right. He's doing great. Marty pops in like a boss, just a legend move. Jesse hits a button. It transitions to the 4 squares. Cheers to round of applause to Jesse, because that is, none of us could have done that.
the
I can tell you
unsung
that
hero
right now.
of the Nintendo Dads podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hey, by the
well,
way,
do you know what
Anybody's out there
made
watching
me?
then you work at Bucky's and you'd like to sponsor the show?
So you know what made me put face buttons on my display, right?
Justin popping in on his phone.
Yes.
Yes.
Woo! Man, I love the fact that my complete chaos and just spontaneity has caused us to create some long living process and procedures in your soundboard.
Listen, I am.
Sounds like
I'm really
HR's got a
sorry. I'm
message
really
for you.
sorry that I kind of did the heads up thing, like, hey, I'm coming in. Yeah, but
It's all
We
good,
wouldn't-
man.
this
I wouldn't
tonight.
have seen
I
it
need
anyway.
this show. I need to hang out with you guys. So yeah,
Marty, I'm so
Fontes says
excited
that
because
all-
I'm going to go ahead.
Fontes says it only took 388 episodes.
Right. I'm gonna be honest, because Marty, you and I have been chatting backstage. I'm gonna use the word backstage here because we've been playing some games that we both wanted to
have
chat
been
about.
playing some games.
And I was like, I want to hear a conversation about this. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just here tonight to just hang out. So whoever's in the driver's seat, let it rip.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into it. Now, tonight's show is, of course, brought to us today by Manscaped, but we're going to talk about that later. All right. So let's jump into the news. Okay. So seriously, who pulls together these news headlines? This is what's been happening this week.
That's me. And when a
It's
lot
slow.
hasn't been happening this week.
Yeah. I'm like,
it's
man,
slow.
these are not great things to jump off of for starting.
no,
points for
there's a ton
conversation.
of news.
Yeah, this
week.
is uncomfortable. Ugh. We'll start off with the first one. A second, number two, the number after one, but before three, second, number two, labor complaint and allegations of sexual harassment has Nintendo of America's president looking into current work conditions. Marty, you put this in our docket. What do you know about this?
Yeah, so there was a pretty, I guess, shady article from Kotaku that came out, I believe it was yesterday, that accused Nintendo's game testing arm or department of, quote, frat house style conditions for females. This is an actual quote from someone named Hannah. She said, Nintendo was almost like a nightmare. It's sad because I love Nintendo. I grew up with Nintendo. I was excited to join it when I first got there and thought I was going somewhere. I had my supervisors telling me I was doing such a good job. But by reporting the incident of sexual harassment, she had set off a chain of events that led her to quit her job testing Nintendo's games. So, not a good look. And as a result of that, today, MyNintendoNews.com reports that Nintendo's president, Doug Bowser, is now taking a hand in investigating these rumors. An allegation, they're not rumors, they're allegations. Let's call it what it is. I mean, and this is not a good look for the big N right now. And
So what I've heard from a different angle, she wasn't a Nintendo employee, but contracted through another group.
Yes.
And it wasn't Nintendo people doing the harassing. It was her own group. So yeah, it still affects Nintendo. Yeah, Bowser still needs to do this investigation to shake things up, boot that group if required, and get a different group of contractors in. I don't know. But yeah, this Kotaku's making it sound like it is 100% a Nintendo problem where it may not be.
Well,
but yes, it's a problem for Nintendo. I get that.
Yeah,
but
it's
not.
Of this comes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it doesn't sound like it's Nintendo staff doing it.
Well, some of it comes from a group chat on Nintendo's Microsoft Teams server, which is called the Laughing Zone.
Well, again,
it's a group chat that was created there. And one of the things that was talked about, including posted screenshots, was why Vaporeon was the best Pokemon to have sex with.
Yeah, I agree. That's not cool in a work environment.
Yeah,
we don't know if that person was a Nintendo employee or
and that's the thing is
a contractor.
Are they contractors? I think another question to ask would be: was this done in? Was this stuff handled in like an official Nintendo building? Was it done? As I've read some that there were other Nintendo employees who kind of brushed it under the rug, which does implicate Nintendo in this, I think.
Yeah, I think, and so the debate of kind of this contractor, right, organization that supports Nintendo, I think Nintendo still, I mean, because I think it's very easy to say, hey, it wasn't Nintendo folk, right? It was this contractor group who's kind of being douchey, right? But I do think that Nintendo holds a liability to that, right? And a responsibility
Right.
as the ultimate person holding that contract, right?
That's kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, to set culture, to set a process procedure, to have a standard, know what's appropriate, and that those rules, right, would transition into the contracting agreement. So I don't think we can just say like, hey, this is a contractor and not Nintendo. Nintendo ultimately, as the person who's hiring this contractor as a sub company, has to be responsible for those actions. And I think that this is something that they have to investigate. They have to look into. But also very much aligns. And I don't mean to be like, well, here we go, but kind of like, well, here we go. Like this is another, and we've talked about Activision Blizzard. We've talked about Sledgehammer Games. We've talked about these kind of unionization, these QA teams. This has been a massive, massive conversation for the last 3 to 4 years. Nintendo, for the most part, has been very like, I don't use the word burnt by it, but they've been kind of like always above board, right? And even our conversations with Krista and Kit seem very above.
You expect a family environment from a company
Exactly.
that positions itself as family entertainment.
Yeah, but ultimately, people are idiots, right? Like, and people by nature
no
are
arguments
idiots.
on that here.
And so you're going to do dumb things, but there has to be there has to be an investigation. There has to be a change of culture. There has to be consequences. If these indeed are true statements, right? Because I think it's allegations, but it has been what was the statement you used earlier, Marty? Not rumors, allegations. Right?
Allegations.
They are allegations.
Allegations, yeah.
Yeah, because using my company, and we also have used Teams. So our contractors use the same servers we do, and we have work chats in them. But anyone's able to set up a non-work chat for whatever purpose they want as well, and invite whoever they want.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if we have a haha area too.
Yeah.
I'm not invited to it.
Well,
I don't want to be invited.
Here's the
to
deal. Like the way I viewed this and reading about this is I've got a staff, quote unquote, of about 30 volunteers that I work very closely with, 30 teachers, 30 small group leaders, things like that. And they do their own thing, right? Like what goes on in their classroom, or their room, is that they're in charge of that, right? However, that still falls under the umbrella of our work here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still falls under the umbrella of our ministry. So if one of those people does something that's inappropriate, then that doesn't just reflect on them, it reflects back on us. And it tarnishes, it has a potential to tarnish the name of the entire organization. Now,
Yes.
the difference, or I won't say the difference, or the thing that we look at, and I'm not saying this as a way to explain any of this away by any means, but here's the long and short of it. What company is immune from this now?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not saying that it's right that
No.
it's that every company has this, but like you were kind of saying, Justin, I felt like Nintendo was like the great hope, like the holdout.
Yeah.
And now it's apparently not true.
Yeah,
I think that shows us that Nintendo is a company just like anything else, but it's sad that it's happening.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the statement before, and and listen, folks, I've been only back for 15 minutes, but we're going to turn on the business, Justin, right?
Oh, do it. Do it. I've been waiting for this.
Reminder, corporations are not your friends, right? Corporations do not care. And so by us holding Nintendo to this, like, oh, bad things can't happen there. No, bad things can happen there because people are there, right? By default. And by default, those are things that occur, right? So they're a corporation run by people to do specific things and outcomes, right? And
what you're saying is bad things happen because people are morons.
Yes, that's a lot of my general commentary, right, on life. But I mean, this absolutely happens at everyone's jobs, right? And it's just one of those things that in the video game industry, it has had such a light shone on it over the last several years. It continues to. And so it's a challenge that every company is facing. And again, companies are ran by people. People are flawed. Therefore, businesses and companies are flawed. And so we cannot, we would love to hold these companies to a higher higher standard, right? But that isn't true, right? Like,
sure, yeah, sure.
You
But
can hold
we-
anything to what you believe they should be, right?
We should hold them to a higher standard.
Correct, but we also
should.
can't believe that because they are this family friendly thing that they also cannot make a mistake, right?
Absolutely.
What's going to be interesting is to see when this happened. And unfortunately, we already know the bad part of it was that the young lady wasn't treated equally. So that's a problem. That's a mark against them right there. But what I'm interested in hearing is, when did this happen? And has the culture changed since then because of what we've witnessed in this gaming environment? So if it's the same old gaming environment throughout the years and now they're changing it, that's the sad part. Yep. But if they've caught it at some point and started changing the culture along the way, that's great. But they still didn't change the how they treated that young lady, obviously. Yep. So
I think that this article from Kotaku alleged that these things happened anywhere from 2009 to 2014.
And so again, it doesn't justify like, oh, well, things are probably better now, so these aren't things, right? Like, no, these are still
things.
These are still things that happened, right? And these are still systemic, potentially bad problems, and they need to be raised and they need to be adjusted and they need to be managed. They may have already by now been adjusted after they left the organization. You don't know. But the story is being told now. And so that's one of the reasons why it gets a light. And I think it's important to raise these.
Yep.
I also think that it's interesting that, I think it speaks to maybe sometimes the amount of scrutiny that people put Nintendo under. And maybe it's because of that family friendly atmosphere that they seem to have, that when you hear things like, oh, workers aren't being treated fairly or the same, or, oh, the red badge workers are better than the blue badge workers, or there's been sexual harassment, that it's a shocking thing, right? And we maybe we get a little hyper focused on that. In a way, I'm not trying to minimize any of this at all. I'm just simply saying that Nintendo, Activision, Xbox, Sony, they all have work to do. They all do. We all do in this area. And so, I just, why can't people, my question is, why can't people just treat other people like decent human beings and just be done with it?
Here's what I do. Here is what I naturally assume. I assume that every single for Nintendo, and this is why I don't feel shocked about this. I assume that Nintendo is built on a foundation of toad slave labor. So every single game that you have ever wanted, just imagine toads that are chained to a desk work. And that's how Nintendo has been built as an organization, is they're built on the back of toads. So just assume that, right? And then you're just like, yeah, it feels about right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, them their doofy little hats down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or are they hats, or are they just part of their head?
Down there,
the Mario
Mario
cartoon back in the day, Toad would
down
take
there.
his hat
They
off.
don't wear the hats down there.
Oh, they don't get the hats yet.
You have to earn the hat.
You get a hat and a red badge.
That's exactly it.
Then you get to eat in the company cafeteria, where apparently there's sushi day.
Right.
Every now
and
and
not
then.
for the toads, because you know what it is?
Toads.
That what happens is the sushi is actually other toads from the night before.
Oh no, I was gonna say, you know what they eat? They eat
like Soylent
leftover.
Green.
They have to eat leftover Virtual Boys.
Oh, jump. I love it. Hey, Jesse
Well,
Weldak.
that was dark. Yes.
Right? Jesse Weldak, talk to me about why Nintendo is using their new in-house server system, the NPLN, for Splatoon 3, and why any of us should actually care.
I honestly don't know what NPLN is.
I can talk about this.
Mr. Marty, listen. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Tim, Jesse, had Marty not showed up to this show, right? Had he not shown up, y'all wouldn't know what was going on. I'm gone for 2 months and you guys can't figure out how to prepare?
Nope.
Marty, tell me why I
It's a
should
good
care
thing
about
he
this thing.
showed up. I'm so glad you showed up. Thank you, Marty. You saved our
Oh my
butts.
gosh.
Thank you so much.
Just some quick information around this is that Nintendo's servers that Splatoon 2 used were kind of an antiquated thing around the company. And that's why when you boot the game up and you go to find an online game for Splatoon 2, it takes forever. Let's be honest. It takes a long time to connect with other people, and that is because it's running through a server system called the NEX. However, data miners have uncovered that Splatoon 3 will be taking advantage of the NPLN system, and this is why when we got the Splatoon Direct last week, that Nintendo was able to talk about the brand new lobby system, as well as being able to see which multiplayer mode or game your friends are in and be able to invite them or join them mid-battle. NPLN is designed for that. You can call out to friends to let them know that you're available online and a whole lot more. Just getting really down into the nitty-gritty details. If you're really interested in that, you can hit up my Nintendo News. There's an article about it over there. But before you get too excited, the disappointing thing is that they have also discovered that the in-game net code is still likely peer-to-peer. Yeah. So instead of Nintendo handling the heavy lifting with the servers, it's still going to be peer-to-peer, which means probably still a ton of disconnections and mismatches as far as internet quality and different things like that. I wish they would go ahead and pull the trigger on handling that. And for those of you who don't know why this is such a big deal, the NEX server system has been in use since the 3DS. So this is old school. There's only 2 games right now that use NPLN. One of those is Monster Hunter Rise. The other is Pokemon's Legends Arceus.
How is it used there? Is there, because I didn't think Arceus was an online.
I don't know.
I think that's if you die, you leave your stuff in someone else's game, and then they find it and return it to you. That's probably that.
There was also mention that the NPLN also does work on matching up players who have certain latencies with other players with certain latencies, and then compensates between the two. It's like a go between the two. So
I wonder which server system Kirby's Dream Buffet is using, because having played several games of that online, it's been nearly flawless.
Really?
I mean, nice. Really, the online connection in that game is really good. Like,
ladies and gentlemen, something you would never thought we would hear from Nintendo is that their online connection was really good.
So of course, something we don't know yet about Splatoon 3. Maybe they announced it and I missed it, but will the player data be stored on the Nintendo servers like they should be, like Fortnite does? Or are they still going to be held on the individual systems, which means you won't be able to have cloud backups?
Good question.
I did see something about.
I remember seeing something about that.
Kirby, about that. Like it's probably going to be stored on your system.
Yeah, probably. Right. So
they're so worried about somebody possibly cloning an item that they
they just
having
ruin it for everybody.
Having the logic on their own servers would resolve most of that. In addition to saving data, I don't know. That would require, but then he couldn't play in peer-to-peer. Would require
this is also this is also the company that and God bless y'all. You said it last week. I think Marty or Tim, you said it. They're reskinning or recycling Splatoon 2, making a few adjustments to it, putting out Splatoon 3. It's going to sell absolute gangbusters. Yes. Do you know why? Because it's going to make money. It's going to be a huge seller. But
But
I
that's the
go
thing,
back
is
and I
what I was
say,
arguing, that I don't think it's just a reskin. I think there's a whole infrastructure that we've now just read about that this game was built on.
the infrastructure. Yeah. Okay. The infrastructure. So yes, but I don't believe it justifies a new game. Right.
There's also
I am the full believer. I am a full believer that this game, along with Overwatch 2, struggles from the argument of why it is not just an updated game, DLC version 2.5 or whatever it is pack, and you move them over to the new infrastructure.
Well,
And the reason is because it makes money.
Well, they're also using a new AMD Fidelity FX super resolution for better graphics and stuff too.
Yeah. And so
I can still be patched in.
Should it be patched in? I'm sorry. I fully believe this game should have transitioned into being like an online free-to-play shooter with a battle pass or whatever you want to call it. If you want to have a story mode, it's $20 more, and you have a long game, live games as a service platform. And I think that that's what they should be doing. And I know that's not what Nintendo does because they can't figure out how to do it, right? Because it's too risky. But I can guarantee you they would still make absolute bank on this.
I don't think it's about being risky. I think it's about being what they are, and that's providing a game. And although you can argue, we've argued about this before, a full package game, because obviously we're still going to get DLC and all that kind of stuff and built 2 years worth of updates. But still, the whole thing is you pay $60, you get the whole game, instead of jumping in the game and then you're paying for, which is also different for Splatoon, is their cosmetics are enhancements, where other games cosmetics don't do anything.
I think Nintendo looks at Splatoon as a half of a live game service, because they have a strategy, they have a roadmap for the next 2 years of what they're rolling out and the content and all of that. But then when those 2 years are done, we're shutting the lights off. Right. And I don't think it's a smart idea. They have an IP. They have an IP that they have released 3 games in 10 years, and it makes absolute bank. And they know there's a population of people who play it. It's a massive shooter, right?
Splatoon for sure would be one of those really good selling, making bucks, free to play games.
If there was any platform, any IP for them to experiment on this methodology, this is the IP they should.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. And they should have done it in Splatoon 2, but I recognize that you don't know how it's going to land. It's still a new IP. You don't really know what you've got. That's fine. I believe Splatoon 3 should have taken that approach. And again, because here's the thing, if a game is free to play, like Splatoon 3 could be, you get more people on board, because guess what? It ain't costing nothing to download it. You're getting more users. By the way, here's a battle pass, right? Like, come on.
I like what Mikey Dreamer says. Splatoon is their Call of Duty.
Correct.
Yep. So Call of Duty, Warzone, Splatoon, Splatlands. I'm going to say this. And it might make people mad, but I'm going to tell you, I think Nintendo has another long forgotten franchise, which would be great as a free to play game, because they can monetize the ever-loving bejeebus out of it. And that's F-Zero. Release some tracks, release some cars, battle pass that thing, get your drivers, get your cars, get your upgrades. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in. I'm spending money.
Yeah. I think this is the challenge that any like arena-based, primary arena-based, team-based online multiplayer game has, is the justification of a new game. Right now, when we see the Call of Duties, it's all new maps, all new single player, like the whole kit and caboodle. But I ultimately also do believe that like the backbone of that should be a different approach. But I'm going to get off my soapbox. But
you weren't here last week to talk about that.
Oh no, I listened to it and I was like, yeah, Marty, you tell him, Marty.
Look, I think there's valid points to both ways, right? I think there's a valid points to it being a $60 game, a one-time purchase, and that mainly relates to longevity or lifespan of the game and when they can like flip the switch and say, okay, we're working on what's next. On the other hand, I see it as free to play because I don't feel like there's been a lot of time since they flipped the switch and started working on Splatoon 3, because there's so much that is the same. And of course, you go back to the whole argument, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I would love them to add things to what's not broken. That or more than what I saw, but that's a whole
different category. Now, again, go back to the original article. I'm hoping that if they're using these new servers and that Tim aligns with what you said before, that new infrastructure, the backbone of it, if that makes it easier for us to jump online and play with our friends and connect and it's seamless and it feels great, awesome, right? Then I'm really, really happy for that.
Right.
And again, I say this in my soapbox, also knowing that in like 1 month from now, we will all have Splatoon 3. We'll all be playing and be like, oh my God, it was so amazing. Did you see the match? We'll be streaming it, all that kind of stuff.
Just,
I have my Splatoon hat on right now.
I'm going to buy Splatoon 3. I said that last week. This does not affect me buying it. No. However, it does affect my excitement for the game.
Listen, this is just a conversation that if we ran Nintendo, here's what we would do.
That's right.
All right. Excellent stuff.
We'd be arguing about it for hours on end.
Right, on a podcast that people might listen to. All right. Let's move on to our next one. Ladies and gentlemen, Embracer Group has acquired Limited Run Games. This hit the tweeters today, the news feed. Who can tell us a little bit about Embracer Group and why this is important?
This is just crazy because not only that, they also picked up Lord of the Rings IP as well when I read that article.
What?
Yep.
So it wasn't just that.
At this point, I said this when we first talked about them back when they bought. I think it was it Eidos from Square Enix or bought the arm of Square Enix that owns Tomb Raider and things like that. You cannot convince me at this point that the Embracer Group is not just a cult. Like, I feel like if we roll up in a board meeting, like you open the doors and there's a bunch of like tentacle aliens, lizards in there, like the monsters from the aliens from The Simpsons, Kodos and Kang, what do we buy next?
Yes.
Well, at this point, honestly, at this point, I was thinking about this. Who owns more, Embracer Group or Disney?
Yeah, we're gonna find out but there's a lot. They're heavier on one side of the media than the other is. So
it just reminds me of By and Large from Wall-E, right?
Yes.
Like there's a big company that owns everything. They destroy the planet with trash and leave the robots behind to fix it. While everyone gets fat and gets their septuacentennial cupcake in a cup with their hover chair.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, this is also time that we're excited to announce that we have also been purchased by the Embracer Group. We'll be called the Embracer Group Podcast. And by the way, if Embracer Group is listening, I am not above selling out this podcast.
We are for sale
for a ton of money. I'm all right with that.
Look, cups with cartoon beavers.
Listen, we are shilling at its best. All right. So, no, but I mean, I do think this is a bit of a challenge. This is interesting. I use the word interesting.
Let me throw this out real quick too while you're talking about this. So not only the limited run games and the JRR token works, but also Tripwire Interactive, which covers Killing Floor, Maneater, Rising Storm, Tuxedo Labs, which created Teardown, Sing Tricks, which is a vocal processing effects tech, and then of course limited run in the token.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, this is
so. Hang on. So, whoa! Yeah, I just want to mind one thing here. They own like the rights to Lord of the Rings now.
Yes, they secured the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit literary works, but not a movie. But
not a show.
It's
because Amazon's got that. Amazon's got the Rings of Power show coming out real soon.
Let's see.
It's just so weird. Why does J.R.R. Tolkien's estate not own the literary rights to his books?
No, I think they probably
Are you saying they own the rights to make video games?
They own the rights to do stuff with that license, meaning they paid that family to do that. And then I'm sure there's a certain amount of time that they only have that. There's probably some more details there that we'd have to look into for sure.
I think this is
I'm just worried that this isn't going to turn into Tencent Junior.
Well, so here's a clarification right here. Sorry, real quick. Embracer Group's acquisition of Tokens Universe includes Middle Earth Enterprises, which owns the rights to the video games, board games, merchandise, and other related works. Embracer's operative group Asmodee already has a history.
Asmodee.
Okay, already has a history licensing the Lord of the Rings board games.
So
and
hold
card
up.
games.
So hold up. Whoa. This is big. This is huge. So Embracer Group, they own Asmodee.
Yes.
Asmodee owns like 75% of like all board game publishers.
Yes.
They like most like popular board games, if they're outside of Hasbro, Parker Brothers, all that, or Mattel, all that stuff, they're owned by Asmodee now. And basically all Asmodee did was come in and raise prices. And this was before inflation. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's a massive, just the Tolkien stuff in its own right. I know
Right.
this is a rabbit and we're chasing it, but just that.
Ebicel says they also own Dark Horse Comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we went through this before. Everything that
I
Embracer
know. I mean,
owns.
It's massive, their catalog.
Yeah.
But it's just, y'all, this is crazy.
Yeah, and my commentary before is I think we continue to see these kind of corporations picking up smaller entities. What is the Coke group now referred to? They've changed their branding recently. Not the Coke, the drink, but
The Embracer drink.
Right. THQ Nordic, all of these, like, I mean, you can make the argument Activision with all the companies they picked up, right? Like we're these Tencent, right? These companies are just picking up all these IPs, all these kind of properties. And so now they're being owned by, 3 or 4 megaton corporations that has the rights to everything. And I think it's great because they can receive some funding and potentially continue to create content. But like, I think artistically you begin to potentially lose maybe what your desired outcome was when you started these things.
And a reminder, THQ Nordic is owned by Embracer.
Because of course they are.
Yeah.
Embracer owns Nordic.
Ninfrendo says they own Disney too, which is owned by the Illuminati.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you. Yes.
They're owned by the Stonecutters. That's a deep cut Simpsons reference.
We own it. It's us. We're the
Embracer
group.
We're the Embracer.
We like to give hugs.
We do. So yeah, very interesting to see what shakes out of that. And of course, as Marty had referenced earlier, they did recently do some more acquisition of some of Square Enix Western publishers and developers earlier this year as well. Moving on to our next news item, Nintendo Switch non-OLED box size will be reduced by 20%.
I didn't think
Have you seen a picture of this?
No, I haven't seen the picture of it.
It's the exact same size as the OLED box with the picture of the V2 Switch on it. So it's going to be extremely confusing when you go to the store because it's not like the OLED packaging says OLED on it in real big letters.
Nope.
I think this is a dumb move. I really do.
Especially since you have red and blue OLEDs.
Can I just ask this? We're almost a year into OLED. Why are they still making the old Switch?
Price is the same, isn't it?
No, $50 more here in the US.
Oh, that's
For
right.
Just
OLED.
get rid of it and just say the Switch is $50 more now and you get an ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
want
what I thought. That's what I thought they were going to do.
I really did.
Here's what this rings to me. This rings to me. Someone said, we have a environmental goal, greenhouse objective that we are trying as an organization to accomplish. And we have now been able to reduce our carbon footprint in the boxes that we create by 20%.
You would love it if that was right, wouldn't you? That is not what it's called.
The company claims that it is doing this to improve transportation efficiency and to increase supply.
Increased transportation efficiency means that we can put more boxes on
more
trucks,
units per pallet,
which means less trucks potentially.
There's an argument.
I can argue that that's a positive thing, right?
Here's what it means. It means we're going to be able to put more switches in more boxes and not have to pay as much for shipping. That's exactly what it means. If you think that they give one rip about carbon footprint in this, you're wrong.
Well,
you can spin it in a way that makes it sound like it's carbon footprint.
Exactly, you can spin away. Like, look, we don't meet weekly together to do the podcast because we are reducing podcast carbon footprint.
Yeah.
They're seeing that we are a 100% green podcast.
Yes. Well, 100% green. I mean,
Nintendo
there's a lot
Dads
of
is
gas
green.
in my office right now, but that's local to my area.
That's why there's no carbon footprint, because we're not all in the same room creating one.
Ladies and gentlemen, wait until we all come together. We're gonna wreck the environment.
Oh, did you?
I feel sorry for that Airbnb.
Did you let a little something slip there, Justin?
I don't know if I did.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I did. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, let's continue moving forward with smaller boxes. I don't know what that was. I didn't know where I was going with that.
Smaller packages.
Smaller packages. Speaking of smaller packages and things I don't understand why we still have it. New game releases. Let's talk about these. Wave Race 64.
Well, before we get into here we had a bunch of games listed as summer, and a lot of these games are either going to have release dates or they won't. So we'll see where your favorite game lands.
Okay, so we've got some new release dates, is what you're saying to me right now.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I love it. All right. Interesting. We're seeing some of the chat might be picking up on some things here. Interesting. All right. So let's talk about some game releases for you to be aware of. Wave Race 64, it's hitting tomorrow. Is that right? I thought it was out today.
Right now.
It's out in Japan now. I don't know is it out in North America now?
It should be out on
Nintendo of America posted a Twitter saying it was out now.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
So that's today. Ooblets is releasing on September 1st. Pre-orders are available in the eShop right now. Is anyone excited for Ooblets? I think people were. Did anyone in this group?
I forgot. I've seen little bits and pieces of it, but I'm
I
not
think this
sure
is a game
what
that was
it is.
announced like a decade ago.
No, it was in the last direct, the last indie direct.
It's like Pikmin meets Animal Crossing ish.
Yep.
I'm not interested.
Right on. Moving forward. One Shot World Machine Edition.
I might be interested in this one. I saw
I
the
don't know
trailer.
what this is.
This was part of one of the last directs. It didn't catch my eye then, but I saw the trailer when they did the date announcement. I'm like, that one I want to look into.
Okay.
I don't remember what it's about anymore, because this was 2 days ago when I saw this, but that's now something that I have on my radar.
Okay. Life is Strange Arcadian Bay collection. So this is Life is Strange collection that was supposed to have come out like in February of this year, got delayed at the last minute. And also when it was released on the other systems, had a massive amount of bugs and challenges, has got delayed and now has an official date of September 27th. There are 2 games on this package. And of the 2 game of the cartridge, of the 2 games, one is on cartridge, one is a download code as well. So that is Life is Strange Arcadian Bay collection coming on September 27th. I'll probably pick this up. I really enjoyed Life is Strange.
I am looking forward to this.
And I've been wanting to play this collection, so I'm excited to jump into it. Them Fighting Herds. And I'm going to be honest with you. I had no idea what this game was, and it came through our PR inbox recently, and I was like, okay,
it's a fighting game about ponies.
We get trailers. I was like, I'll watch this. I'm sorry. How is this not a copyright against My Little Pony Smash Brothers?
It's funny that you asked that. Jesse knows the answer.
Yes. Originally, it was a pony game. They were going to call it Fighting is Magic. And they were using ponies from the show.
They got the band hammer dropped real hard.
Hasbro put the stop to that. But Lauren Faust, the art director of Friendship is Magic, says, I like your concept. I will draw new characters for you. So that's why they still look like Lauren Faust art, because it is Lauren Faust art.
Interesting.
It's going to be an interesting game. And we actually had a question from Mecha Dragon about who's excited about this and who's going to be your main. Yeah. And he spelled it wrong. He should have said who's going to be your main, MANE.
Yeah, and the developers is called Mane 6, MANE6.
I don't know because I don't know any of the characters, but whichever one is blue. That's what I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna use the one that has a sword.
I don't think any of them do.
If there's one that's black with red striping on it, I'm getting that one.
If they don't have one with a sword,
I'm going to play this.
I'm not playing.
So,
this.
Justin, I'm just telling you now, if we
Extra life.
no, if you, well, me and Jesse will play rock, paper, scissors for the
Okay.
code.
All right.
You
So
know
you
it's
guys are gonna.
I am actually have no interest in this.
Oh, well,
Really?
I'm gonna straight
I
up buy
think
it.
Marty, you need to connect. I assume it's going to have online functionality. I think you need to connect with Mr. Mecha Dragon, and you need to be
Ooh.
playing online with him.
Tournament.
Bring him in, stream it. Right, that'd be the way to do it.
I am decently bad at fighting games.
Right on. I love it. I love it. Hey, have you guys
I-
heard of Multiverse?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Multiverses.
God.
Is it terrible? Because
There are
apparently there's a big
no,
rumor
like
it's coming to the
apparently
Switch.
it's good. Let me tell you why it's bad. Because you can't even play
It's good. Let me tell you why it's bad.
Let me tell you, it plays great. Like as far as a Smash clone,
Yeah.
probably the best one. My son actually did an hour-long live stream of it on his YouTube channel, like around the time it launched for everybody. But
And sorry, what was that YouTube channel that he has?
Red Warrior Network.
Red Warrior Network. So if you were
Red
looking to
Warrior Network.
subscribe on YouTube, you would type in
y'all-
Red Warrior Network.
Oh, he would love that. Like it would thrill his soul if you went over there and did that. Here's the deal. Here's what we found that he was here playing on PS5. We downloaded it, took it home. You can't do anything with it if you don't have an internet connection.
Oh no.
It's so like to the point of it will disconnect you in the middle of the tutorial. Because
that
you've
cool?
got to have a constant internet connection so they can monitor all your online play to figure out how to monetize it best to you. It's
That
stupid.
sucks.
I also think that the I think the character selection is kind of strange because I'm wondering who they're shooting for. Are they shooting for kids like with Bugs Bunny and Batman and Harley Quinn? Or are they shooting for wine moms who watch Game of Thrones by including Arya Stark as one of the characters?
Okay.
Like it's so weird. Like why?
She
If it
kicks
is,
ass, I'd pick her.
I mean, right? But my son goes, "Who is that?" And then they just have this random like character that you don't know where it's from, called Rain Dog, who's a reindeer and a dog, and apparently it's their original character, but there's no story for it. There's no
backstory.
then they put
thing.
Then they put LeBron James from Space Jam 2 in
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
So isn't that the whole point of the movie? To not do what they just did with this game?
Yes. Well, the whole point is walking out of the theater and going, "My God, why did I just spend money on Space Jam 2?"
I didn't. I saw it on streaming, so I didn't.
To teach you that there's better movies to spend your money on. Is what it is. Anyway, sorry, Justin. I just it's not my cup of tea. I'm just gonna play Smash.
That's fair. That's fair. I was just hearing rumor that it was coming to a lot of other platforms very soon.
That
free to
same
play.
argument that you just made about it connecting to the internet and you not liking it because of that could also be spun for the same thing for Splatoon 3 and being all in one cart game versus a free to play game.
Well, you do have to connect to the internet. I mean, I have
to connect to the internet to play Fortnite or Apex Legends.
I have to play
or
Fortnite.
Overwatch.
Here's the deal. Can I say this? Fortnite,
but they're not doing those.
Fortnite works on my crappy home internet because it does not connect peer to peer. It connects to a server. With a mobile data connection, like mobile cell phone data, Nintendo's servers do not work with that.
Well, honestly, Nintendo could learn a lot from Epic in regards to how they connect their game.
Here, let's actually just do this. Can you rephrase your statement? And I'm going to tell you where you should put the period. So do you want to try the sentence again, Tim? Nintendo could learn a lot.
Well, Nintendo could learn a lot. Period. Yes.
Period. That's it.
From
period.
Epic. It's like
There's no additional.
It's like they're offering it to them. Nintendo can learn a lot from Epic.
Yeah. Right. Like we do have to remember
like
that.
A gift. Anyway, I'm playing the pony game. Playing
the pony game. All right. I love it.
And that's why I thought too that the DLC, if they wanted to try it, like you said, if they didn't want to do the whole game as free to play, maybe their DLC later on could be. Like if they, if I dreamed it up, like Nintendo works with Epic and they create a battle royale Splatoon.
Splat Night.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be
type of thing, so.
There's so many good things there that could happen.
Sorry, we went off on a
let's talk.
there.
Oh,
No, it's okay.
Anyway, Them's Fighting Herd's out October 18th.
Thank you for bringing us back on board, Jesse. I appreciate
I don't think
you,
we ever got
your
to the date on that.
No, because I probably stopped caring a while ago. All right, next one. Locomotive is delayed until 2023. I think we saw this in the last direct. I think.
I thought that was out already.
Yeah, it was a train game that was originally marked as summer.
Got it. Okay. And one that I am actually genuinely disappointed in is that Metal Slug Tactics has been delayed to 2023 as well.
Oh yeah, Locomotive is not. It's not the train game. It's about the mystery on a train.
Oh,
it's that one.
See, so they've got motive like you've murdered someone. Locomotive. Motive. That's a good one.
Crazy.
That's a good name.
So well done. Well done.
Deep. That's deep.
Cool.
And then
all right, folks.
No word on Advance Wars.
No word.
No, but can I tell you something? Somebody posted that they did server maintenance on Advance Wars on the 16th this week.
Why would you announce that you are doing server maintenance on a game that isn't released?
I'll tell you why. Because they're going to shadow drop it.
They're not going to shadow drop it. They're not going to shadow drop it because they have all the cartridges printed. The cartridges
maybe I go to Walmart tomorrow and it's there, Justin.
No, that's not how this is going to work.
But my shadow drops in my mailbox. That's what happens.
They could have done the maintenance and not said anything, and no one would have noticed.
No, but they had to announce it, like Nintendo.
They have to tease everybody.
Yeah,
make everybody.
This game is going to come out in between January and March of 2023. Probably February is when Advanced Wars are going to come out because they are going to publish it in their fiscal year.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think we kind of guessed at that before too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do not think this is going to be shadow dropped. You're going to get a date. They're going to lead up. They have a whole PR cycle about this, right? They're going to spend time. They're going to put a demo out.
If it was digital only, then maybe.
With this. Sorry?
If it was digital only, then maybe.
Correct.
This has a physical release.
Yeah, I think the Kirby game is a great example. They could have been like, if it was digital only, you'd be grand, but because it's physical, they need to change it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our news. Let's head over to our sponsor. Folks, today's episode of Nintendo Dads is brought to you by Manscaped. Now, does your happy trail look a little more like a highway? Does your bush peek a little bit over the fence? If you have to even think about the answer, you need the revolutionary products from Manscaped. Success is when preparation meets opportunity, and Manscaped's Platinum Package will make sure you're prepared when opportunity strikes. Join the over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS. That's 20% off and free shipping at using the code NINDADS, NINDADS. Big thanks to Manscaped for their continued support of our show throughout 2022 as well. Guys, I listen, I absolutely love Manscaped. We're talking about it. It is hot as Hades in Alberta right now. It is uncomfortably hot and sweaty. And let me tell you, taking care of that ball deodorant is making it feel nice and cool. So we ain't getting the chafing, feeling nice and refreshed on hot days like this. So again, if you're thinking they just take care of body hair removal, they do a fantastic job of that, but they have some amazing products like the ball deodorant, like the underarm deodorant, like their body wash, like their shampoo and conditioner. They are not just tools. They also have amazing products that really, really do make your day usage so much better. We absolutely love their products at Manscaped and love their continual support of Nintendo Dads. Back over to you. Me? Nope, this goes over to someone. Tim? Vince. Yeah, right.
All right. So we got the events coming up. We got Game Trials, which is Pokken Tournament DX for North American region. And it's not Wise, it's what?
Ease.
8, La Cremosa of Donna, European region, is getting that one. August 18th through the 24th, players can earn 100 My Nintendo Platinum points for playing during the game trial period, at least in North America. It is unknown if the same offer is available in Europe.
So can I throw a theory out here?
Go for it.
They're doing a Pokken Tournament game trial because Pokken Tournament 2 is coming.
Yeah, because Pokken Tournament DX was just a port, right?
It was a port from the Wii U version.
Yeah, and it was early. It was an early port.
Yeah.
So why in the world would they throw this back up there? I really do think that this means something is coming.
At first, I thought it would be related to the Pokemon World Championships, but of course, that's in London. So why wouldn't the European region also have it?
Yeah.
So that
I like that.
Busts that theory to shreds.
That is a good speculation, though, that we get the Pokken Tournament. So keep an eye on that one. Also, what we normally remind everybody about is the dinner table, which is every third Friday of the month, which means tomorrow night or tonight, if you're listening this Friday morning on your podcast feed, it'll be tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, where we just get together in the community, Nintendo Dads community, and just chit chat about everything, what's been going on during the week, the month, what Nintendo's doing, what Nintendo's not doing. We also talk about the shows and movies we're all into or games we're into in other areas, and just basically some of the same topics too that we talk about here that maybe some people want to talk about. So
we should talk about the they didn't watch She-Hulk yet today.
I have not had a chance to watch that yet.
I have
I'm sure we'll be talking about that at the dinner table, so you should come join us, Justin. And we also have been talking about getting votes in on if we should do another episode of the table, essentially, but a breakfast table for those who can't make it at the nighttime one for dinner table once a month, maybe doing a breakfast table or brunch table or something like that during the week. So playing around with it, I have to figure out for me, the best time to do it between work and stuff, and also trying to figure out what's the best time for everybody to join in. One of the ideas that I liked from John, I think it was from our Dads After Dark group, was just opening up a chat at a certain time for a few hours and just let people come in and out of throughout the day to chit chat or whatever, because they're also working. So, but keep an eye out on that in our Discord. In order to get into our Discord, you either have to be a Patreon subscriber or a Twitch subscriber. So either way, doing those, you can join us. So, and then you can join the dinner table. So those are the events. Now let's move on to what we've been playing.
Do it.
Justin, you're back. You should start first.
Sure. Sure. I think people will be shocked to know that I haven't actually. Oh, hello. My dog just came into the room. People will be shocked to know that I've actually been playing games and not just Fortnite or Apex Legends, because everyone thought I had a bit of a meltdown about 6 weeks ago about why I haven't enjoyed stuff. But exciting news, folks. I have been playing some games, and I have actually been reducing playing Fortnite and Apex Legends. So the games I have been playing, Live Alive, I have been playing that. And I know that
yes,
Marty, you've been playing it.
Yes.
And I know that I think that here in the chat, who else is Jesse, you've been playing it.
Right.
So I am, what is it? There's 7. It's 7 stories, right?
You start with 7.
On the like when you start up, there's 7 of them, right?
Yeah.
So I have done all of them except for the Far Future and the one that was in the demo, not the with the monk, the monk one. Yeah, that I already done during the demo and was I'm already at a level 10. So I don't know if if I've completed that story.
No, the demo's only halfway through it.
Okay, so I have to finish.
Yeah.
I have to finish those 2, and then I'm done. I have definitely. Enjoyed various stories throughout it. I've enjoyed different approaches. It's very cool. It's a very
refreshing.
cool game, and I have been enjoying my time with it. I will also tell you, sometimes I'm like, okay, it's a little less chatty. Let's move forward here. I've hit the skip button a couple times, but I have really been enjoying what I'm playing. The prehistoric one's pretty funny. I thought that was a pretty good one to go with as well. So I've been playing that, but
the near future has been my favorite one so far.
Yeah, I just finished the near future one. Just finished that one. But I see Marty and Jesse, you guys have both been playing it. So what's your thoughts on it?
So I've been in the, I don't know if you call it the post game or not. I've been in that for about a week or so and haven't gotten really to spend a lot of time on it. A lot of people may have saw on Twitter, I started getting my master's this week, but it's actually something I'm planning on diving back into tomorrow. Without spoiling anything, like I think I said this last week, there's kind of like an Avengers type thing going on right now. So like the things you do matter and they carry over into this portion of the game, which actually seems to be pretty sizable.
Nice.
But it's going to sound goofy after I said Avengers. It is the end game.
Right.
It's like this is the part.
Yeah.
But basically where I'm at right now is finding people and then going on a final quest for them to find their most powerful weapon.
Very cool.
Which is you can, from what I understand, with all of the 7 people, you can freely swap them in and out of your party at the end. But they all have a dungeon, and all of those dungeons function in a different way. Like in one, you're going into the dungeon at different points, and you have to defeat enemies to get keys that lead you to places where you get other keys.
Yeah. That
will eventually let you through 4 gates and you get the item. In another one, it was you could run through it as fast as you wanted, barring random encounters. There were no random encounters in this one, except there was like a supercharged defensive enemy. Like it was really hard to defeat because it had a lot of defense, and he constantly stalks you through the thing. Like you could see him coming, so you can kind of fake him out, but like you'll beat him and he'll disappear, and then like a little while later he'll pop back up, and he's chasing you down.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed like the vignettes, the stories that are in there. Sometimes I do find them a bit long. The graphics I think are fantastic. I love this 2D kind of pixelated approach to it. I've really been enjoying it. And like, I mean, I finished 5 of the 7 components of it. Yeah, I love the fact that like you can, and it was kind of funny because I was on a flight and I was like, it's a 5-hour flight. I can bang out a couple of these. Right. And so you could sit there and say, hey, if I'm going to play games today, it's, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I can finish off one of these vignettes. So I'm really, really enjoying it, really excited by it. So that's been, go ahead.
That's one thing I'll say about it too, is in the beginning of the game where you're going through those different time periods. Like I was kind of fooled. I was like, oh, I'll finish all these and I'll be done. Right. Yeah. And you're right. They do finish in like most of them in like a couple, 2.5 hours, right? Yeah. Per time period. If you really dig into it and play. But then you get to the part where I am, and even the one that unlocks after you do the 7, and those are a little more substantial. All right. Those have a little more meat to them, which is good because I didn't want it to just be like 2.5 hour experiences and then boom, you're done.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I have been definitely digging that one. The other game I've been playing, actually, I'll ask Jesse or Marty again. I know you guys both have it on your list. Anything additional you guys want to stay with that one?
Well, I'm still stuck on the Ito one. Apparently, I got to like the jail cell that I need to get to. but I
That
didn't
jail
find the
cell
key.
stuff is absolute. Oh,
So I'm like, so I got frustrated with that, and I moved on to other games. So I hope to get back to it because I want to finish this one, but I don't know that I'm probably I don't know if I have to start over and sit down with a guide.
I would say jump on, find a walkthrough guide, and it just watch like that a section takes 4 or 5 minutes, and you'll be like, okay, I know where I have to go, just to kind of get yourself away from that. Because I found that area was super frustrating. Because I think the layout of some of that area does not show well where like the door is. Yes. And so you're like, where do I need to go? And I'm like, oh, that was a door there? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I was super frustrated. And so I had to jump through a walkthrough. I had to jump onto a walkthrough, I think once or twice, to be like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And you're like, oh, you're kidding me. That's a door. So
that's the story that discouraged me from playing it.
Yeah,
I stopped playing it there too.
I think it's worth pushing through. The other part of it, the Ito one, I didn't give an F. I killed everybody. I had like 64 people dead by the end of my run on that one. I was like, I wasn't even trying to hide. If you're in front of me, you're gonna die. I don't care who you are. Nice. You're some poor lady, you're dead.
I'm still level 3. I get one rounded, and I end up running away from every battle because I know I'm gonna get smacked. And I found an area where I thought there was the ghosts that I could attack, but they just flung me into the jail. I'm like, okay, that's not what I want to do.
Those ghosts are absolute trash too.
I think the Ito one was not the best show for the demo. Let me just be honest. I don't think it was I think they should have chosen another one.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Okay. Other games I'm playing.
As I said last week, that the whole near future chapter played like an hour and a half anime, and I loved it.
Yeah, and that was also where I was skipping a lot of forward for. And it was so funny. Here's the funny part about it. I was listening to your episode while I was playing that episode, flying home. And you were like, oh, and I was in that near future part, and I was like, oh, this is exactly what Jesse's talking about. Holding ZR, and I'm like, faster, let's get out of this thing. But yeah, God bless you for that one. Now, the next game I've been playing, speaking of JRPGs, I picked up Xenoblade Chronicles 3. What? And I have been playing it. So I played flying out to the East Coast. I played Live Alive. Flying back, I played Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And I will only tell you, so this is not let me tell you how amazing it is. I put in 150 hours, blah, blah, blah. I have only played 4 hours of it. And that is still chapter 1, and I'm not fully through it yet. I will say I'm very engaged with kind of the system that they've got in place. I think it's very interesting. It's auto attack. You have your arts, you're building your team. There is a lot, the cutscenes are long in this. Of the 3.5 hours that I have played, I feel like I have probably watched 2 hours of cutscenes. To begin to put together the story that they're telling, right? But I will say,
are you sure
the
this
story
isn't an Atlas game,
right? The story is very compelling. I think it's and we've seen the like, hey, each character only has 10 years. They only have a certain amount of time to live. They have to recharge or refill up their own kind of clock. And to be able to do this, they take the souls of others. There's a whole kind of like honor system, and not say honor system, that's kind of like a soul bearer in some ways, like, hey, this person's passed away and you need to bring their souls to the other side, and kind of the ceremony, which is kind of cool. I find the map is massive, even already what I've seen, and they do a great job of like, hey, if you want to go here, I'm going to show you how to get there. It's a quick line. I'll put it on a map. There you go. By the way, here are all your side quests. So there's a lot of like menus that open on the right hand side. Here's your side quest. Here's the thing you need to collect. That's great. You can choose that. If you go a little bit more into the system, there's a lot of deep menus, which can definitely become a little bit intimidating, but they do a great job in walking you through and tutorializing it so it doesn't feel overwhelming, which I think is really, really great, because I think it's easy in a game like this to be like, I don't know what's going on anymore. So I've been really enjoying, again, I am only about 3.5 to 4 hours into it. I think the story is compelling. I had a brief chat or back conversation with Solo something who's been loving it. He's our big Xenoblade Chronicles 3 guy. I know the Dads After Dark team is really on board with it. I think it's a really, really great game. Again, I think putting it a week after Live Alive was such a bad idea. This game feels like it needed some space, and I think this may have hurt it a little bit, but it's fantastic. If you're a Xenoblade Chronicles fan or sitting on the corner or on the edge of it, I think it's, again, I'm not a big JRPG fan. I enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles 2 from the 4 or 5 hours I played of it there. I'm hoping to continue with it here, but I was really wanting a meaty JRPG. Next game I've been playing, and this is Mr. Estes, where you and I get to have a conversation, because this game, so if I was playing Live Alive out to the East Coast, what I was playing when I was in the East Coast was Cult of the Lamb. And this game has been running through my head for the last week since I have been playing it. And this is a great example of a game. So this is the Nintendo architecture or architecture in its best. I downloaded the game on my Nintendo Switch Lite. That is not my primary Switch. And I was like, awesome, I'm going to play this on the plane. No, I'm not, because it requires are you connected to the internet to validate that you own this game? And I do own the game, but I can't play it because it's not my primary Nintendo Switch. Screw you, Nintendo. Fix that. That is absolute trash. The only games I could play is whatever was on my cartridge. That is absolute junk. So frustrated. I digress. Cult of the Lamb is a rogue-like meets Animal Crossing farm simulator game where it's the best way I can kind of describe it, where you are a cult leader who is being tasked to create a following of individuals. And to do this, you need to go save them from these dungeons. That's the roguelike part of it, that are procedurally generated every single time you go into it, different difficulties. And when you save them, you need to then mind them and take care of them. So you need to provide them shelter, you need to provide them food, you need to perform ceremonies and minister to them, basically, or provide, you need to provide an ample supply of outhouses. Yes. Yeah. You need to provide outhouses. So there's a whole farm. I've always joked about let's make the Walking Dead Animal Crossing. That's what I want to see. This is kind of the Walking Dead Animal Crossing that I've wanted to see. And here's the interesting part. I have spent probably of my playtime with it, which I think is about 5 hours now, 75% of my time is minding my cult. And it's, I'm gonna go make sure, are you happy? Have you had a blessing yet today? Oh, you need some food. I'm gonna go get you some food. Oh, I gotta clean up some poop. Oh, I've got to rebuild a shelter over here. A lot of this, and then about 25% has been me going in and actually kind of grinding out and getting gear. It has, the gameplay loop has me caught. It absolutely has its hooks in me. It's the game that I keep that's the game I want to go back to, and I lose hours. I need to go to the game. I need to go. I'm just gonna do one more day. Right. And then you're 4 hours later, you're okay, what has just happened? I need to stop here. Because the gameplay loop and the rewards they give you and the tasks and what your cult, your following needs that you're trying to support, it is so cool. Ebicel, did you feed your followers to each other after they die? I have not had any of my followers die yet, Ebicel, by natural causes. I had a buff for one of my runs that was, when I die, I can sacrifice one of my followers, and that gives me my hearts back. Now, interestingly enough, when you go to sacrifice them, they have various degrees of kind of how they feel about you. They're on levels, right? So if you're a brand new cult person who's just joined, you're probably a level 1. And I've maybe just seen you, and I've maybe blessed you, and I've maybe given you a gift. Not a lot. But then you've other ones who've been there for like the entire, 15 days, and you've done quests for them, so they have a much higher like level. So if I sacrifice that person, I get 4 hearts, as opposed to if I sacrifice a person who's a level 1 who only gets 1 heart. So I have not fed them yet, if that makes sense. But I have definitely used them. I'm going to say this, and Marty, we're going to have a very interesting conversation here. The gameplay loop, I like a lot of things about this game. The content, the imagery, and the topics, and how they view religion is the challenge that I have with the game. So there's this kind of like opposition of, I like the game, I like the loop, I enjoy the loop. It's the game I want to keep going back to. But when I see or read some things or understand it, I get a little uncomfortable. Mr. Estes, I'd ask you what your thoughts are in this game as well.
Oh yeah. So like a moth to a flame, I am drawn to a good roguelike. And I'm going to actually correct the terminology there just a little bit. This is more of a roguelite because there is progression that is permanent. And it does have to do with, going through the different parts of the outer area, where you go into the outer lands or whatever and fight and gather resources and come back. You can actually beat those levels. And doing that earns you a follower. And going through those levels, though, like you said, is procedurally generated. They're different every time. Even the options that you have in going through the different parts of that stage are different. You can collect a new follower, you can get a different weapon, or you can. But I digress. The gameplay is fantastic. It's super well put together. I love the art style. I love the music. I just have a really hard time playing it. Mm-hmm. And what it comes down to, I think you and I mentioned this, like I was a little uneasy already with like the cult imagery. Mm-hmm. I was a little more uneasy with the fact that the game is basically you die at the very beginning and the devil brings you back to life, or some demon that's imprisoned brings you back to life. And like you get a hat that is demonic, and there's upside down pentagrams everywhere and upside down crosses. And they're leaning really heavily into that sacrilege, kind of angle on this. But where I really had to kind of take a step back was after getting back to the village that you're building, or the area you're building for your cult. You build a temple, and it's there that you are told that you can perform sermons, which that's just a weird methodology. That's just a weird terminology. Anyway, performing. But when you do, basically what you're doing is you raise up off the floor, and there's this demonic power, and you're flipping through a book, and you're getting this devotion from people that you actually get more devotion, like Justin said, if you level them up and different things like that. Meanwhile, out in the courtyard, you've built this altar that you have animals bowing down to and worshiping, so that you can collect the essence from there. And then it really got uncomfortable when it came down to there's a part I guess I'm still in the tutorial thing. I've not played 5 hours. But it basically was, hey, you're going to have to sacrifice one of your cult members so that you can upgrade your weapons, so that you can then take on Veshi, who is the priest or the bishop of the woods, who's the boss. And like Justin said, you get, in my case, there were animals that I had who, or followers I had that had different buffs or debuffs, or based on if you sacrifice a person, or if this happens, or if that happens. And any other theme, right? This would be maybe not as bad But coming at it from the religious aspect side of it, I mean, what did we expect, right? I mean, it's called Cult of the Lamb. The imagery was there from the beginning. But I think there's a great discussion to be had, and I think we're actually going to have this, Tim, because I'm doing the Q&A thing about what we believe about certain things factor into whether or not we can play a certain game or not. And so for me, like, here's the struggle that I'm having with Cult of the Lamb is I really like the way the game plays, but I'm out on the theme. I'm out. I'm like, I don't know. Well, if I can go back to it. And honestly, here's the thing. My kids play my Switch, and I definitely don't want them playing this.
Mm-hmm.
I said this in the video that I did for our YouTube channel, that this is not a family-friendly game. It is like, I wish there was a way that you could restrict access to certain accounts on games. Can you do that through
You
the
can.
app?
Yeah, it's in the parenting app, and you just
I need
basically
to
say,
download
I
that.
don't know if it's
I
I think it's at the ratings level. I don't think it's at the can't do a
Well,
specific
see, that's
level.
there's the thing is that I wish it was at the title level
Yeah.
and not just at the rate. And maybe that's
There is
maybe that-
ability to block everything and only allow certain titles, because I used to do that for Sam,
oh, okay.
but it was still hard because of his age was still younger. So like I would
Yeah.
let him play Doom, but we had
That's
to do
what
it
I'm
around.
thinking of.
There was a roundabout way I had to go about doing that, where I had to,
But
yeah,
Tim, that raises a good point, is that I had to laugh that I was okay. And I'm okay with my son playing a game where you're destroying demons.
yeah.
I'm not okay with playing, and not okay with my son playing a game where you're befriending them.
Well, when I wonder I think the other part of it, and I think this is the interesting part of, I think sometimes like video games versus like movies, right? Where movies are passive entertainment, right? Where for the most part, and video games are an active part of entertainment, right? Where you have to make decisions and specific actions, right? So I think, to realize that you need to go perform a sermon, right? And for an individual who understands what a sermon is and what the intention of it and the perspective that it's used from the church, that feels very odd in particular. And understanding that this in this game, the outcome of that is very deliberately different, right? So it's kind of flipping those ideas on its head. And I think that's a challenge. And I think that's how, and I'm not saying this is how we do it or whatever. That is the kind of separation of how of art versus artists, right? Like, you, Marty, as an actual minister, right? Like, I was curious about how that landed with you. I'm not a minister, right? I attend church and have my faith, and but I also feel like it's still a little bit uncomfortable, right? But I'm not as as in the same regards as you are for it. So I was curious about it.
You want to hear something funny real quick too?
Yeah.
This, my wife's been playing it, and she's been talking in the Dads After Dark Discord channel about some of the game there too with the guys there. But we were chit-chatting about the same thing, and she said she's fine playing it, but she has a really hard time trying to explain it when my mom asks what she's playing.
Sure.
So she feels really uncomfortable trying to explain the theme of it to make it sound like it's just a game, but it's around those topics you brought up. So and it makes things uncomfortable. So if you can't explain it to your mom, should you be playing it? Or your mother-in-law, I guess, but no. So
Mecha Dragon asks
it was
in the
funny.
chat here, sermon. So like a speech, a sermon is very often part of how would you describe a sermon?
So a
preaching,
sermon,
you're preaching.
So when I am on Wednesday nights or Sunday, when I'm called, when I speak every Wednesday night, I'm sometimes called on Sundays to do that part of our service as well. And the act of preaching is, I would define it as, it's a like a lecture or upfront lecture that is designed to teach the congregation, which would be those that are listening, something about scripture or something about the faith. I mean, the word sermon is used in lots of different faiths. It doesn't just have to be the Christian faith. So usually it's a spoken word lecture that is delivered for the purpose of teaching those that are in attendance or those that are listening a doctrinal truth or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
A couple other things I'm going to say here about the game, just as a statement. If you do, so I will also say this: I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm going to keep playing it, and it is a game that you can name your followers as they come in. I was listening to an episode of Kind of Funny, and they did their review of it, and Greg Miller said a great thing, which was stop trying to befriend them, stop trying to care for them and make their lives wonderful, because that's, in the end, their objective are kind of like cows to the slaughter, which is their objective is to ultimately get you the buffs, the runs, the equipment, the life, everything that you need to ultimately destroy the end boss.
They're a tool.
It's like what you said earlier. The companies are not your friends. So in this case, you are the corporation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way to look at it.
Right?
You're the rancher.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? And so sometimes there's things like one of my guys walked up to me, he's like, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if we made Marty eat a bowl of poop?" And you're like, and it literally gives you an option of like, if you agree.
Why if you agree, you start Marty.
If I was using you as an example.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, you get rewarded, and if you don't, you basically choose yes or no. And if you don't, then that follower loses faith in you. And they may leave. I had another follower who was not believing what I was selling, and like they started like trying to like basically stand in the center of the town and like yell about like how I was like a liar and a bad person, and I had to like try and like re-indoctrinate them.
You had to sacrifice them.
Well, and I was like, that was exactly it. I was like, all right, what's his name? He's the first one to go. So it is very interesting. I have been enjoying it, but that is what I've got, folks. So I have been playing games again. And I have got Curse to Golf on the docket as well. That just came in through today. I'm excited to jump into that. So that has been the longest what have I been playing in a long time.
In a long time. I'm proud of you.
Nice. Well, Marty,
we don't have a 3-minute limit anymore.
Marty, you were talking about Cult of the Lamb, so why don't you go ahead and continue what you've been playing?
So just besides that, I've been continuing in Power Wash Simulator, which is the next step up from Cult of the Lamb. Thematically.
You have to be cleansed.
It's really good. I really wish this game would come to Switch. I think it would do wonderfully. And it's encouraged me. I'm going to download Lawnmower Simulator after this and play that. But it's just so, like I said last week, it's so zen. It's so like I'm not worried about an enemy. I'm not worried about anything other than I've got to clean this van or I've got to clean this house. And it's so good. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, this is free for you. Free. In quotations. But you should go check that out. I've also been playing the brand new Kirby's Dream Buffet that came out this week, which is basically Nintendo's Fall Guys, except it's not. And I know that there's been a lot of comparison to that in the beginning, but I really don't know how to describe it other than to say it's Fall Guys, but it's also there's enough difference in it that there's not. So if you haven't followed this, the story is Kirby gets shrunk down and is now on a cake or in the world of sweets. And he's racing other Kirbys to eat the most strawberries. I don't know why they're strawberries, but they are. And so I've only played online. There's a battle mode you can play at home. You can also do local play with other Switches. But in the online mode, you get dropped into a room with 4 other people. There's always going to be like 4 other Waddle Dees that are kind of your, like, they round it out to a group of 8. And your job is to race to the end. So, but it really doesn't matter. Well, I would say it doesn't matter. It does in some ways, because at the end, there's a giant pile of strawberries for first, second, and third. But it doesn't matter. There's multiple ways you can do this. You can take your time and actually collect some strawberries, because along the way, there's these barriers that are made out of cookies that you have to bust through by running into them multiple times, or there's some powers that will let you like dig under them and just keep going. I haven't gotten that yet, but I've seen somebody get it. So scattered throughout the course are strawberries, hazards, enemies, and boxes, which either give you a copy ability or they give you extra strawberries. So think giant multi-part stages, kind of like Fall Guys, but also think that since you're Kirby, if you fall off the edge, you can float back on, depending on how fat your Kirby is. All right. So the bigger the Kirby gets, the faster it rolls, which means it can be the controls on this are a little slippy in the beginning. All right. You got to get used to them. But the bigger the Kirby is, the faster he rolls. But also, if you roll off the edge, the less likely you're able to recover. And so each of the times that you play online is usually broken up like this. There's a race, and then there's a very short battle stage where you're like competing for strawberries, or like either you have to bust the boxes and get them, or they're falling out of the sky, or whatever. Then there's another race, and then at the end there's like a battle royale where the 4 Kirbys get put on this giant like wafer cookie with obstacles, and strawberries are flying everywhere and boxes are popping up, and and there's some abilities that are only available during that. Like the stone ability, like you jump up and you use it and it creates a shock wave that goes out, and everybody else either has to jump over it or get like knocked out immediately. And every time you fall off, you lose 20 strawberries. So you can go from and I did this today, I went from 1st to 4th, because people target you, right? And there's not that much room to move around. So it's just this big chaotic bumper cars / Fall Guys / fighting. I think it's fun. Now, that being said, it's $15. Do I think it's worth $15? No, I don't. Unless they add some other modes or other things. Now, there's unlockables. There's tons of unlockables. Music, digital art, costumes. Like today, I was in a game and I was racing against one of the one-eyed Kirby enemies. You know what I'm talking about? And Meta Knight. Like somebody has already played this enough to unlock the Meta Knight costume. So I think I'm like level 6 or 7. I think I maybe went up to 8 or 9. So you get points pretty easily by playing online. You can also get them other ways. You can decorate the main screen with cookies, and I just don't think it's worth $15. I really don't. I don't. Sadly,
Could this have been Mario 35, free with NSO?
Yes, it could have been. It could have been a free, and if you want to pay to keep it or something, whatever.
Yeah,
I think it's worth about.
Seth
I think
from
it's
the
worth
All In
about.
podcast said that he was surprised that it wasn't free with the expansion pass.
Yeah, I really thought it was going to be free with the expansion pass, and I really only think it should be like $9.99 on the eShop at most, because sadly, I don't see a lot of longevity here. I don't see a ton of people playing this for a long time. It's cool right now, right? It's something new. Everybody's jumping on the new bandwagon, but I'm asking myself, in a year, am I going to be playing Kirby's Dream Buffet online? Probably not. In September, when Splatoon comes out and I have limited online time, am I going to be playing Kirby's Dream Buffet? No, I'm not. So either you really like the Fall Guys formula and you love Kirby and you buy this, or you don't. I really am on the fence with it. So yeah, it's fun, but for how long?
Good point.
That's what I've been playing.
Jesse.
Oh, no, Jesse, go ahead.
Okay, so we talked about Live Alive. So the next game I played was Lost in Play, which kind of is this kind of a cute little animated type of game where you're you start out playing as a sister of a brother and sister pair, but then later on you then shift to playing as the brother. So it kind of goes back and forth between reality and their imagination. So it's so things originally don't appear aren't really what they appear. And then there are other things where you can kind of see the progression of like one of the things really early on is the sister will create a monster costume out of a box, a pack of crayons, and some scissors. So she makes a monster costume, puts it on, scares the brother, and then starts chasing the brother. And then when it goes into imagination, she is now this tall monster that you now control the boy to try to avoid it and get around it. So it's ultimately like a puzzle game. Think Layton, but the puzzles are actually make sense with the story instead of it's just being completely random. Um, I got stuck for a while really early on with a fox and geese like checkerboard puzzle where I have three white pieces on the left side. The opponent has one black piece on the right side, and the goal is to pin him without having the one piece make it to the left side. The one piece can move any direction like a normal checker can. No jumping allowed, but they can go forward and backward, and I'm only allowed to go forward. And it took me like a half an hour, and I was almost ready to throw in the towel on that one, but I finally got through because I'm not good at fox and geese. I've never been, but then, and this is only like 20 minutes into the game, less or half hour at most. So after that, I got into an area. I'm now in a sequence of pathfinding puzzles where I have to get to the exit where the sister as a monster is in between me and the exit. I have to follow a certain path. Like I can follow the white lines. The creature can follow the white lines or the red lines, and sometimes there's a yellow line where I can go through and the creature can't. And yeah, I'm stuck on that one. And I think I'm on the third of 5 of these pathfinding puzzles. So I'm like, yeah, I like this type of game with where the puzzles are integrated with the gameplay, but it's just the type of puzzles that they're giving me are not the puzzles I like. So
Makes sense.
a lot of trial and error, brute force. It does there is a hint system where it kind of loosely gives you try to do this, and then that'll set you up for the victory path. And even then, sometimes it's confusing, especially with that checkerboard one where there was a lot of randomness involved. But so if you like puzzles, give that one a look. And yesterday I started playing Blossom Tales 2, The Minotaur Prince. It's kind of a sequel to the original Blossom Tales. If you remember that one, it's a Zelda-like where you're this girl character, and the whole game is structured like your grandpa is telling you a story, and then the gameplay is what the story is. So this is more of that, but now it involves your brother. And early on, he kind of acts like a jerk and kind of cheats his way into winning a contest, but then he gets kidnapped by the big bad, and so you have to now save the brother on a similar type of Zelda-ish adventure. And I'm really early on. I haven't gotten past. I don't think I've played for an hour yet. So the problem is I don't remember what I'm supposed to be doing. So
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Like if I had 2 hours at a time to play, I'd be able to get into a rhythm but only played 15 minutes yesterday and about 10 minutes today, and I'm I could run around and I know I'm supposed to do something in this zone because it gives me a map with a square, but I don't remember what I'm supposed to do in that zone. So, okay. Then the last game that I've been playing is kind of goes back to what I was talking about with my Sunday order, where I got the Japanese 3DS and I modded it so I can install my games onto the SD card and play it without the card. Uh, so like I have Dragon Quests 4, 5, 6, and 9 on here, and I haven't played those yet. But one thing, the game I have been playing is Picross 3D.
Shocker.
Yeah, and I think I've 100% of this game twice already, and it's started to play it a third. I don't know if I'll 100% it for the third time, but it's a fun game. If it is a different twist on Picross, thinking in 3 dimensions instead of just 2. And then, along with my Sendeko order, I picked up 2 or music discs. One is Symphonic Suite Dragon Quest 1 and 2, and the other one's the Dragon Quest 3. And I might play a little bit of the main theme, but I won't play much because it'll probably get copyright hit on YouTube. So yeah, it's full orchestra, and I haven't had a chance to listen to them yet, but this is going to be a fun listen.
You should save that bit right there for when we have guests.
Nice.
You play that bit.
There is a separate Dragon Quest music theme that plays when someone new joins your party. That would be probably
that would be a good one. There you go.
The Slime Time podcast does that all the time when they introduce their guests.
Well, we don't want to copy them.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I've been playing. I still want to play Dragon Quest 9 again. I have wanted to replay that one for years, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But that's on my backlog that I want to play.
Nice.
But now
Got
I can
anything
play
on
it.
deck?
Yeah, the RPG Time. The Legend of Wright.
Speaking of which,
sounds like a fantastic transition.
Speaking of which,
pick that up, and I haven't played it yet.
All right, yeah, and yeah. Speaking of that is what I've been playing. Which, if you don't know, we've got a video up on our YouTube channel of me playing that, and actually had to do a voiceover on it because I did a whole video with no sound apparently. So except for the game sound, thankfully the game sound was there. So, but I just did a voiceover on it. But anyways, RPG Time, The Legend of Wright, came out today, the 18th. And we got an early review copy, and I've been playing it for about a week and loving every minute of it. I've only gotten through the first 4 episodes. It starts out at 0 and it goes 0, 1, 2, 3. And I'm getting ready to start the 5th episode, The Witch's Manor. And this has got to be the most endearing game I've played in memory. It's just something special about this game because of my past with games like this, where meaning in my 20s, I played D&D with my friends. So there's that, dungeon master type aspect of it, and designing your game or playing the game that a dungeon master created for you, that aspect of it. In my middle school years, I had a wrestling paper game that my friends and I used to play. That was something that, everybody would be their own favorite wrestler. And in class, when we were done doing a work and we had, free time, I would break out the paper game and we'd have wrestling matches on paper, so it was those type of things is what this game reminds me of, because it's all notebook based, where this kid is a dungeon master. He drew out the whole story in this notebook, And there's also probably illegal, but and I'm surprised he didn't get busted doing this, but it's drawn all over the desk too. So a lot of your stuff is all over the desk.
Delinquent.
Yes. Maybe it's his own desk. I don't know, but it's really clever in how it uses classroom type or household items to create the environment, your HUD, if you will. Like your life counter is a tape measure. Your status is broken out by using the beads, that the melting beads that you can do to create things with. I forget what they're actually called. Those beads that you can melt and make
Perler
pictures
beads.
with. Yeah, perler beads. Thank you. So you get to see your status and your equipment made by that stuff. In order to get to your food menu, you ring a dinner bell. So, and then there's little post-it notes that give you experience points that come up into this little section on the desk. Also, to your right on the desk, there's a MP3 player where the DM is playing the music in the background while you're playing the game, So again, all these little clever things that you get to watch and see. I don't want to spoil everything. That's just kind of like, I tried to limit what I was showing in the game too, because everything you are playing is something special. And something that is just like brings back either memories or just clever in how they're putting it together, that I don't want to ruin it for anybody who does want to play. So I don't give away too much about the manual, because there's a manual you can actually play through to learn how to play certain things within the game, or how to do certain things in the game. But it's clever in how it gets you to get through the manual. Some manuals, you're just like, oh, I'll just play it and learn it as I'm learning the game. This actually, you play through the manual and you'll get something special at the end when you collect everything through the manual. So there's still a whole bunch more that I have to unlock. I think I'm about halfway through it, if that. And I think there's even one side quest, and maybe even a post game. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. And there's not a lot of people are giving away a lot of things online, because again, this is one of those games that if you're playing it with somebody and you're going along the same lines and you want to talk about it with them, that's one thing. But a lot of people are not trying to ruin the game. And there might be even some walkthroughs out there too, because it has been out on Steam, I believe, to play. So, but I really highly recommend going to check out the trailer for the game and even our YouTube video on it, just to see what it looks like. And I'm not sure if there's a demo out. If you have Steam, if you can go play the demo there, but go check it out there. There is no demo on Nintendo Switch yet, but I really highly recommend this one, even if you're not an RPG game player, because it actually isn't all RPG. It isn't all turn-based. There's different mechanics throughout that's thrown at you as well. So, which is
Actually,
really another clever.
It's not released on Steam yet. It releases next month.
Okay, maybe there was like a preview or
A
something.
timed exclusive on Nintendo Switch.
So yeah, there's different action sequences. In fact, the recent board I went through, I had to go through a maze. It was just basically guiding myself through a maze and having to interact with things that happen in the maze. So really clever, a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. That's what I've been playing on my Switch mostly. Anytime I go to my Switch, that's what I've been playing, because I'm really into this story and where it's going. I keep looking at where I'm at on the contents here. So I'm hoping to get through it in the next couple weeks. I have been playing on my PlayStation because Madden 23 came out early for anybody who bought the all Madden version, which I did because I hadn't played Madden. I used to play Madden all the time, a long time ago. In fact, it's been 10 years since I bought a Madden game. This is a special Madden 23 edition in memory of John Madden, who passed away this year. I was like all in on it. In fact, I bought 2 copies, one for my PlayStation and one for the Xbox. So I was like, I'm all in on this one. I would buy it for the Switch too, EA, if there was one for the Switch.
They think that people who have Switches don't like football.
So, but it is I've only played one game of it. I went through the tutorial, played a game through it, and it was a fantastic way to get you acclimated to the game because you play not just any game. They throw you in a John Madden, all Madden game where John Madden is the coach on both sides, a John Madden from different eras, coaching the AFC team and the NFC team, and then you're playing his all Madden team, all his favorite players throughout the years on each
I
of
thought
those
you were going to
sides.
say like it's all Madden, like everyone on the
Everyone
field
is
is John
Madden.
Madden. The referee is John Madden. The guy who drives the
That would've been
ambulance is
funny.
John Madden.
I'm sure there's going to be some sort of mod for that later on.
Commentators are John Madden. The coaches are John Madden.
Yes, but it was a fantastic way to play. And during the game, and it was so hard to play and concentrate on the game because they were commentating on John Madden's history through in the NFL, his career as a coach, his career as a commentator, his career in the video game, creating that. So it was just a spectacular way to attribute to him to listen to, as well as when I was playing the game, they had a halftime show dedicated to John Madden, doing a quick blurb of that, and even at the end saying thanks coach for the game that EA gave to the Madden at the end of that game. It's like a little choked up even talking about it. It was just so beautiful way of doing it. I was so glad that made me even more proud to buy 2 copies of the game. So highly recommend it. If you hadn't played Madden in a while, make this the one you come back to, and make it the last one you come back to because it's got Madden on the cover. So I think it's a great game to get back to. And if you are on the PlayStation playing it, look me up and maybe we can play a game together. And then the other PlayStation 5 game I've been playing is Rollerdrome.
This looks so good.
It's I was just started it today, so I did the tutorial. Actually, what I did was because depending on what level you are in PlayStation Plus, you get an hour free preview of the game, a full-on version of the game. It's not a demo. It's just you get to play the first hour. You get an hour of it essentially. So I did that. I was like, I was really interested in the game. I always loved not only like Tony Hawk games, but Twisted Metal, the battle side of things. So I kind of thought that was a mishmash of those two things. And to me, it still feels that way actually playing it. So I played the first hour of it and it hooked me. I was like, okay, I'm buying this. So plus being PlayStation Plus, we got a discount on it. So I was able to get it for $20. So I picked it up, played some more of it. And they have leaderboards on there so you can see globally, but also against your friends, whoever's playing it, you get to see how they're scoring on it. In fact, the person I saw playing on it when I did it was Mr. K-Step or Kyle at the trophy room, our friends over at the trophy room. He had a score that I was like, okay, I have to beat his score because I was close and I went back in and had to do that board again a few times and then finally beat his score. But it's basically you're on rollerblades, you're in an arena for now, and you get guns. And you can do tricks with your rollerblades. You can dodge several other home players, if you will, in the arena that you have to dodge who are shooting at you or trying to hit you with a bat or just trying to kill you, essentially. So it's kind of like, think Running Man. And, that movie from the future where, they got games on TV or was that game Smash TV back in the arcade where the
Right.
whole idea is you had to get boards in this game that would kill you and people were watching it live. So that's the kind of same thing here. They're looking for ratings. The media is there and all that kind of stuff. So you do tricks to get pictures and the media points and all that kind of stuff for doing that. But you also have to dodge bullets and bats getting killed. And you also get guns to shoot back at these arena home team, I guess, if you will, to kill them and get through the board. And then you get points for all of that. And then also too, the quicker you do it, because you get a certain amount of home team you got to play against that you beat. If you do that in a certain amount of time, you get bonus points for beating it in a quicker amount of time. So I did the first couple arenas. I'm having a blast with it, loving it. Again, if you're playing it, let's, I don't know if there's multiplayer yet. I think it's something I have to unlock right now. I've just been doing the campaign side and having a blast with it. So, Hambo and Johnny over in our PlayStation Discord channel is talking about, man, you're having a week over there at the PlayStation side. And I'm having a lot of fun with my PlayStation this week, probably for the next few weeks, playing Madden again that I hadn't played in years, and Rollerdrome, which is a lot of fun, something different. So those are the games I've been playing. So if nothing else, we'll move on to the community spotlight.
Do it.
Speaking of games in the community, we have the monthly mayhem going on still, where they are doing Mario Kart because of the Wave 2 courses. And I think they just got through a Mario Circuit 3 in the second round, and that is closing out tonight, if it's not already closed by the time you listen to this, getting ready for the third course. I'm not playing in this one. I don't think any of the Nintendo dads are in this one, but the other community members and other show people, peeps there, are playing. The Dads After Dark crew are running it. So we've got right now, it looks like Dylan Andrews is in first place. In fact, I think Dylan, has been around for a while, but just recently joined our Discord to probably play this, and he's in first place. So
Nice.
props to him. And then second place, unless there's some last minute scores, again, this is just what I was able to pull before we did the show. Sean is in second, Solo Something's in third, Hoots is in fourth, Bob Cousy in fifth, and Informant sixth, Trey is in seventh, and Drew is in eighth. So, all right, that's Drew in last place.
John's not even playing this?
John, I don't think is playing. It doesn't look like, or he didn't make the cut. I don't know.
Well, there is no cut yet.
That's true. That's true.
This is still open prelims.
Time trials, yes. So that's what they've been doing over there, monthly mayhem. They're always doing an awesome job over there doing their monthly mayhem. So come on and join in on the Discord. You can always join in. I don't know if it's too late to join in here, but we're always doing something. So you can join into something. In fact, I think there's still the Dad's bounty board still going for the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga for the Kyber bricks. Nobody's claimed that yet. Marty, your wife was still working on that, right?
We're somewhere around the neighborhood of 600.
So they're halfway there. There's like 1,166 Kyber crystals. Who's got it? You can get 10 eShop bucks. And I've been toying around, Justin. I don't know if we want to do anything here, but I was like, that's a pretty big thing going on there that maybe we should help support them to make that a bigger bounty.
All right. You know what? I'm back, right? I'm back. Business Justin's back. Let's throw some dollars at this. All right. Shall we?
All right,
Shall we
all
throw
right.
some dollars at it? How about $100?
Let's do it.
$100.
Dang.
$100. Bang.
That was even better than
Drew,
I was
John,
thinking about.
Make it happen. It's $100.
100 eShop bucks.
100 eShop dollars. Let's start seeing some people. I want to see some Kyber bricks. All right. Let's see it happen. Do it now. You
There
need
you
some
go.
incentive? Boom. 10
There you go.
times your initial incentive.
Boom. All right. Well, let me make a note of that real quick.
Yeah, you'll want to communicate that out. I just kind of roll in. I make proclamations and walk away and expect somebody else to communicate.
Yep. That's what happens when
There it is. It's $100. It's
You're in
in,
your
the
position.
doc. It's official.
there
You
we
just
go.
highlighted it.
Yep. I got to
There
make
you
sure
go.
I let John and Drew know about that one too. So, all right. And then the Game Pass News Achievement Hunters, they're still working on their next Achievement Hunters game on the Game Pass News side for those Xboxers out there. So stay tuned to them and they'll keep you up to date. If there isn't already one out there that I missed, they'll let me know. So
Nice.
and then we've got our community questions that we'll roll right into. We got a lot in Discord and a lot on Twitter, especially since Justin's back. So Justin, you're actually, there's one that you need to update us on since you missed a few weeks back. And
Sure.
that is pitch your Nintendo Cinematic Universe.
A Nintendo Cinematic Universe.
And if you need time for that, I can come back to you if you like.
No, I mean, I think a Nintendo's pitch a cinematic universe. I think it involves. I think it is like primary villains versus like it's like an Avengers bad guys and good guys team up. But what has actually happened is Mario has gone mad. Mario has been possessed by let's say Mr. Hand, right? And now he is crazy and he is destroying. He's like going through Hyrule and just like destroying stuff. And so, like Link has to go talk to Ganon and get him on side. And so there's this tension between all the enemies, right? Like
That's
King K.
difficult
Rool,
for a mute pro tag.
a King K. Rool, and like Donkey Kong, and like. Is King K. Rool going to turn? Who knows? And there's a lot of infighting and there's a lot of kind of like political unrest. And like the shy guys are in Bowser's ear, like, oh, when Luigi turns around, just kill him, right? Like, so there's this whole kind of, ultimate world assemble of good versus bad. And then like after Mario is maybe healed but like, so now he's out of it, right? Like he's been knocked out. His evil powers are gone. He is not available to help, but now both sides turn on each other. Right. And it becomes like an ultimate smash brawl of Nintendo characters.
Maybe Luigi's death is what turns him.
Yeah. Right. Like that could exactly be it. Like dark and gritty.
And what if behind the scenes orchestrating the whole thing, Master Hand and Crazy Hand?
That's exactly it. Right. Yeah, I think the other crossover event I'd like to see is like you get glimpses of an economic recession from all of the worlds. And like, now like the Goombas are on the streets and like, Luigi's doing things for money that he shouldn't be doing for money. Right. And then really what it is, it's Tom Nook in like an evil corporation building, just buying and selling large stocks to be able to control the economic markets because he has such a hate for people. It's kind of like the Wolf of Wall Street, but
so he's
Tom
playing
Nook.
Fortune Street.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
There's
Hopefully that helped.
There's a deep
That was
cut for
awesome.
y'all.
That was awesome. We got so many ideas throughout these past few episodes. I think that, if anybody was super creative at doing like flash videos, like back in the day.
Do
Great
it up.
Mikey
ideas.
Dreamer says, isn't the easy answer a live action Captain N?
I saw that too. Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Kevin
All right.
Bacon, a young Kevin Bacon is Captain in the Game
Yeah.
Master.
Yeah. All right. What's next, Tim?
All right. So, hey, it's Chad asks, school is starting back. Best back to school hijinks or moment or memory in general. All three of my kids will finally be in high school this year. My wife and I both were able to chaperone on field trips to DC with our kids when they were in 5th grade. My wife went with our oldest and I went with the other two a few years later. While it was stressful at times, it created amazing memories. I never had the opportunity as a child to go on any big field trips, so I'm glad my children were able to experience something so exciting.
So best high school memory in general,
Best
for
back to school
back to
hijinks
school. Oh my
or
gosh.
moment or memory in general.
Memory in general.
All right, I'll start.
School.
Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
So, when our youngest was with the band and they do a trip to Colorado every other year. So I think it was her sophomore year was the year that they were going. And of course, we're all the students, all the parents are in the auditorium with the band teachers with this is what we're going to do day by day. Here's the itinerary. Here's how it's going to work. And there was big emphasis on you are not buying what you want to buy in Colorado. If you are caught with it, you will be sent home on your own dime, and you will have some parents that aren't happy with you.
Fair enough.
This was back when Colorado was really the only state where that sort of thing was legal. Now it's more widespread legal, but still that's still a no-no when it comes to school stuff.
Right.
Welcome to Canada. Second country to fully legalize it, eh?
For me, as a kid, the best time, two things. One of the best times was book fair time. Justin, Did you guys have book fair?
Yeah, like Scholastic book
Yes.
fairs. Yeah.
And you would get that catalog, that paper catalog.
Yeah.
And you would go through it. And I remember I would sit at the kitchen table and I would circle everything I wanted, which, was like half the book.
Yeah.
Like, I got to have this, and I got to have this, and I would show it to my parents, and they'd be like, okay, here is your budget for the book fair.
Yeah.
Your budget for the book fair is, here's your wants for the book fair. Here's your budget.
Yeah.
All right. It's way down here. But I would always get to get something from the book fair, which was, and that continued on. Our kids, of course, homeschooled, but my mom was working in the school system at the time when the book fair was still around, and she was actually able to get them a couple of things.
That's
from
great.
that. So it was really cool. The other thing that was book related, and I don't know if you guys had this in Canada either, but Tim and Jesse will definitely remember the Book It program from Pizza Hut. Did you guys have this?
Yes.
Yeah. So in the Book It program, what you would
familiar, but I don't remember.
There was this big pin that you would get, like a button, and it would say "Book It" on it, and it would have 5 gray stars on it. And whenever you read a book, like a good book, not like you could like a picture book or whatever, but whenever you read a good book, you could get a sticker from your teacher, put on the pin, and then you would take the completed pin to your local Pizza Hut, and they would give you your own personal pan pizza for free.
Yeah.
And it was the best day when the Book It was full. And you could go now, in school, kids just get AR points. That's what they call them here in Tennessee.
Okay.
Advanced reading or whatever points. And at the end of the school year, they're like, so-and-so had 700 AR points. I was like, nerd. Anyway, no, it was like, so-and-so had 700 AR points. And for their whole high school career, they've got 15,000 AR points. And did they get pizza? No. You don't want to make more kids read?
Pizza.
Personal. Pan pizza.
That's really the problem with our kids nowadays. Lack of pizza. That's
right. My kids don't eat enough pizza.
Yeah, that's the
those are my favorite memories from elementary school. That and the giant wood chip pile that we pushed each other off the top of in 3rd grade because our school was brand new, and the playground equipment hadn't come in yet when the school started. So we had an open field and a wood chip pile.
Nice.
And that's all you need half the time.
Look, if you've never experienced the game King of the Mountain, that's what's wrong with kids today. They've not played enough King of the Mountain.
Yeah. Mine would, I was thinking as you were saying that, did you guys ever have the opportunity to like bring in lunches? Like you order lunches. So in Canada, they did like hot dogs and occasionally pizza. But in high school, we would do Texas donuts. And so Texas donuts are like the size of your head donuts, and they were for like $1. And so all you had to do was go down and be like, here's $3. And they would give you 3 of these stacked Texas donuts.
The name Texas Donuts, of course, it's gigantic.
Right. And I mean, there was like chocolate regular and like a caramel kind of like sauce. And it was just like, you're like, there's my lunch. And it was just a 3, like
just sugared up,
like just diabetes was going to get you, and nobody cared. Yeah, that was just the life you lived. Oh no,
you can buy in my high school. We could get a piece of pizza where the cheese was like as thick as the rest of the pizza. Yeah, like they'd pull it up to put it on the plate, and the cheese is just string it, and then a cookie the size of your face, and they'd be like, yeah, that'll be $2.50.
Can't do that today.
No.
I remember when I was in elementary school, the pizza that they would serve was done on like large baking sheets, like big cookie, like a cookie sheet, and so they would take up the whole rectangle. So like the whole pizza would be like the 4 corners, like 6 edges, 4 on the top and bottom, and 1 on each of the side, and then like 2 middle pieces, and that was the whole pizza. So you were more often going to get a corner or at least an edge, like those middle pieces with no crust. No one wanted them, but
ain't
someone
nobody want no crust.
Right, but still, it was still rare to get those, just because it was like so much crust everywhere.
Okay, how many of you actually, when you did a hot lunch, were able to stick around to the end to see if there were any leftovers you could have?
I think. Well,
Did you
yeah.
ever have that opportunity where there's like, if you had nuggets that day, if there were any leftover nuggets, you'd be like, can I have some more nuggets?
our lunches, our elementary schools had the younger kids go first, and then it was the older kids last.
Yeah.
So like the 5th and 6th graders were the ones that were able to say, hey, who wants a second batch? Otherwise, this is just getting tossed.
Right.
Yeah, we never had like hot lunches in regards to like a cafeteria that you'd go to, or that you'd like pre-sell for and just pick up there. Until I was in high school. In high school, it was a cafeteria. So, and it was just they'll make poutine to order, or here's a sandwich that's already pre-made, that kind of stuff. So it was never like hey, is there leftovers? You're like, you want more? You pay for more.
I'm going to ask this, yes or no, dispel a myth for me here. When you would go to lunch there at the school, your milk was actually in a little bag.
No.
Like a Capri Sun pack.
No, not in, no, those would be small containers. Small little.
So you had like a little cardboard container of milk?
Little cartons.
So
little cartons.
At what size of milk does the milk in the bag come in?
It was like a liter. It was a liter. It'd be like a liter bag is where you'd get them. I used to remember them being dropped off at the door, and in your fridge, you would have a plastic container that was completely hollow on the inside, and you just take your bag.
Right?
No, you just grab your bag and pop it in. So you've got this plastic, or you have the handle, the hook. Yeah, I guess you'd say, right? And then you just clip the top of your bag. That's it.
Last year when my daughter came to visit, she brought some bagged milk from Wisconsin, and that was actually pretty good.
Never experienced the bagged milk.
Yeah,
I've heard about that.
I remember being younger, but like I don't remember much after. Like I don't remember when we stopped it. But
okay,
yeah, good question though.
Good stuff. My memories is basically actually before school starts. Especially recently, I was kind of reminded of that from the kids. They were worried that we were not going to do back to school shopping because of the pandemic type stuff. We hadn't been doing that lately as much, but they were like, we hadn't done it in a couple of years. Can we do back to school shopping? We missed that. And it's like, okay. So the kids really like going out and doing that, and that's something we've done for years. In August, in a weekend in August, we go out.
I hated back to school shopping.
That's why we tried to make it fun and do
both as a student and as a parent.
Yeah, I get it. Definitely. I didn't like it as a kid either as much, but I tried to make it fun. Both my wife and I tried to make it fun so that we wanted to have fun. So
but one more story I thought of I wanted to share is in high school, we had before school kind of like a league of dodgeball.
Sorry, that was my stomach.
I was hungry. Like, you heard that too, right, Marty?
That was my dog.
Is Grogu over there? Like, is he waking up in his pod?
Anyway, but
it's a gremlin.
I was in a team primarily of freshmen and sophomores, just from friends from band and orchestra. But because I was a senior, they put us in a league against other seniors. And every other team with seniors was only seniors, or maybe one or two juniors. So we just got pounded every week, and was not fun.
Never is.
Gotcha.
All right. Mikey Burgett asks, I'm wondering, with Gamescom next week and the schedule already out, are there any games that you're excited to see them go more in depth on? Also, since the expectations are that there aren't going to be any big surprises of any new games, do you prefer to know ahead of time whether or not there could be any surprises?
With Gamescom schedule, there's nothing that's really exciting me right now, but I don't think they're doing any big in-depth dives in regards to Nintendo games, although a Midnight Sun, I think, is supposed to get a little bit of a look-see. So, I mean, that could be interesting, but I think Midnight Sun's supposed to be delayed for Switch anyways. So
it's interesting you mentioned Midnight Sun, because I read today Disney and Marvel are doing their own game showcase at
Yes.
Gamescom,
I was about
which is a first time for them to do something like that. Am I
is it?
right?
I don't think it's at Gamescom. They're doing
It's
their
September 9th.
I know, but Gamescom is next week.
Oh, okay.
September
Well,
9th. Yes.
is this
I'm more
part of-
excited.
Is that part of
I am more
D23?
excited. I am, yeah,
It's part of
D23.
D23,
I'm
yeah,
more
that's
excited
right.
for that. Yes. Disney and Marvel doing their own. That is what I'm excited for. So that has my attention. Gamescom, not as much. I like it. I do like it when they temper our expectations by being like, hey, there's not going to be any big reveals. These are in-depth looks at games. Just sets expectations a little more accordingly.
And I don't mind a surprise. And it, you know,
Oh,
every
yeah.
now and then. So
Yeah, I have no expectations. There's nothing in particular that I want to see that I haven't already seen. But if there is a big surprise, I would love to see it and be surprised. If there was a big surprise and I knew about it in advance, is it a surprise anymore?
right. That's the sucky part, especially if you're following a lot of the news or whatever. So
And because again, this is in Europe, so I think I put it in the calendar. I think it's something like 2:00 my time,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to watch that live. Or at least I won't be able to react to it because that's my normal work
Yeah.
time.
we'll
I
see
might have it
Twitter
on in
blow
the
up.
back. I might have it on in the background, but if I have any calls on it, then it's paused and it'll have to wait.
Yeah. We'll see Twitter blow up about something and then
Oh,
find
sure.
out about
Yeah.
it there. So great question there. Spider Shan asked, as we inch even closer or ever closer to September, I'd like to ask the dads their thoughts. Will there be a September Direct?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been saying even going back into early July that if we don't get one in July, we should get one in September, and I'm still agreeing with myself on that one.
Even in the midst of 2020, I think there was a September Direct. So I think we're going to see something. I think they've got to outline, kind of firm up the end of the year, right? Like recommit to Pokemon, recommit to a few of these games coming out, and I expect it to be within the first 9 days because they'll want to remind everyone that Splatoon 3 is coming out.
Yeah, and I'm going to double down on that. You're also going to get a surprise drop, and ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Tunic.
Oh, that would be nice.
At that reveal.
I love it. I hope so. It belongs on Switch.
And that's going to be an out today.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying that for a while now.
Yep.
So that'd be nice to see. All right. I think that's everybody in agreement on that one. The informant says, you know how Mario Kart Tour will shake up existing tracks by adding ramps and or even changing the path within the same world? Do you think there is a possibility that the next mainline Mario Kart game, 9, will allow us to make similar custom changes? I could see it working similar to Mario Kart Home Circuit, where you set up the track and then have the paint put on your wheels to make the track layout within an existing level. I really wish you could cut through the grass in New York Minute and some of the other levels and take shortcuts. I know there are some, but most areas you can't even drive up on the sidewalk or anything. Would be cool if it was more open.
So
What do you guys think?
Is he suggesting the ability to edit the pre-canned stages? Or am I
yeah, do you
missing?
think there's a possibility the next mainline Mario Kart will allow us to make similar custom changes to the tracks that are already there? Yes. Or something similar like what we see, if you guys aren't familiar with Home Circuit, the remote control Mario Kart, where you draw your own cart because you have to essentially draw out where your cart's going to go through those, banners.
Right.
So something similar along those levels. What do you guys think? Custom courses or semi-custom, I guess, if you will.
I think it'd be cool. I don't think they're going to, though. I think they're very dedicated on giving you exactly what they want to give you.
Because they're pushing to online play as opposed to couch co-op play, and custom tracks wouldn't go well online.
I think what we'll see more than custom tracks is that we'll see this mechanic that they've added from Tour where the tracks change between laps happen more often.
Okay.
We've got a lot of tracks that have been introduced with these new
the
updates
waves,
where
yeah.
there's different ways to go, multiple paths through that. I think that's where they take this formula that they have right now, which is excellent, and elevate it to the next level. It's interesting, like to think of the possibilities, like a different parts of Bowser's castle that you're in on different laps. I would also like to see them lean into a little bit more of the Mount Wario type stage too, where you have 3 parts but not 3 laps. It's like one continual track.
I like those ones the best.
Yeah.
I do miss the ability to create tracks like you were in, the Excite bike games and all that kind of stuff where you could create tracks there. I think that would be cool if they did something like that, maybe as an add-on later on, maybe DLC. It'd be kind of cool, I think. But I think, Jesse, you're right. If they're going to be, it'd probably be stuff you wouldn't be able to do online unless it was something, I don't know, maybe it is. I guess it depends on how they implement it. But good questions. All right. Acid TK03. I have started to replay Breath of the Wild. I'm hooked on it again. But my question is, what is everyone's favorite dungeon in the Divine Beast? Mine is the elephant in the Zora domain.
I'll give you mine. It is the where Goro is. The Death Mountain. What I don't know. What
Death Mountain one. Okay.
Yeah, Death Mountain.
That one was the you didn't have to go inside that one, if I remember correctly, right? You just had to blow it up off the mountain. Or did you have to go inside that one? I can't remember. Yeah, it's all blending together, and I just played it. So, all right. Marty, you got a favorite? Jesse, you got a favorite?
Yeah, so
Divine Beast?
I think that for me, I don't have a favorite. I have a least favorite.
Okay.
And the least favorite is the one with the where you get the bird guy revolving.
Okay.
I did not like that one.
Okay.
I think that's the one where you had to tilt it back and forth to make things slide.
Yeah.
That was stupid. I don't like that.
All right.
And a very close second to that for me is the is Urbosa's. I just didn't like the desert.
Okay.
Neither did he.
It's my stomach again.
Is that Snots from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? You getting into the turkey?
Oh,
No.
All right.
Nope.
So
let's go ahead after that, Jesse. We're gonna maybe a speed run the last couple questions here.
Okay. I remember not liking any of the Divine Beasts. That was like the low part of the game. If I were to pick one, I think the elephant and how it had the best mechanic in the trunk angle changed where the water got sprayed and did different things inside and outside. But ultimately, I didn't like the Divine Beasts. I wanted traditional dungeons.
Very good. Yeah. There's
always Breath of the Wild too.
I'm hoping.
I like the camel one. It's because you could spin the different rooms, if I remember correctly.
That one I didn't like.
That was
the head and the tail go up. No,
you spun the insides.
Yes. That one I thought was interesting. So, all right, let's get through these last 4, and I'll have to edit one of them, I'm sure. Yes, I will. So, the one from Adam from Megadad. Speaking of which, Jesse, they have something special going on soon, don't they? The Megadads.
We need to record that tonight.
Yeah, their next episode is their episode 100 of Megadad's Live.
All right,
we'll
record a thing after this.
Artisanal sandwiches for everyone.
Yep.
Congratulations to them for getting to episode 100. It's about damn time.
Cute, eh? That's cute. Remind me, we're on 388. Okay, good for you guys. Way to go.
They had a
Took you 8
question.
years.
I am going to read it after in post show because it is not appropriate for the main show.
Okay.
So David Belika says, what looks tastier, more realistic than cake? Realistic than the cake in Kirby's Dream Buffet or the Fruit and Pikmin 3?
I'm going to say Pikmin.
Are you a fan of golf games? Will you pick up Cursed to Golf for Switch? And Justin, you did.
Cursed to Golf I picked up, and sometimes I enjoy golf games. I'm excited to give this one a shot, and you will have a video up on the YouTube channel as well.
All right. Seth Sturgill, who's maybe still hanging out with us here in the
a couple
chat.
minutes ago.
Indie World Showcase next week or not?
Nope.
All right. Anybody else think yay or nay? Indie Showcase.
I don't think we're going to get an indie showcase before we get another direct.
Yeah, I think Indie Showcase will happen towards the end of the year.
Remember previous years they did have some sort of.
It's right around
showcase
PAX.
Around,
right around
Gamescom
PAX.
time, but I don't know. But yeah, I think one of the last presentations was already in Indie World, and people wanted the big one, and I think we're going to get a big one next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get
Tunic might be in that one as well as opposed to the direct, but you'll hear Tunic in one of these presentations soon.
And the final question by Jensen Wright. I'm sorry,
Nick.
I can't get it. Nick. I feel like you felt about everything the Switch lately, Justin. It's all just been annoying me and meh. What can Nintendo do to fix their image as of late? Because personally, it's not been looking good in my opinion.
I don't know if they have to fix their image. I think there's a couple things that I'd like to see them do better. I'd like to see them communicate a little bit more effectively for their strategy. And that goes back to the directs. I think they need to get us excited about what's down the pipeline. I also think this is a season where not everything has to hit for everybody. And I think that's maybe what I felt at times throughout the year, but now I'm finding things that I'm coming back to and am enjoying. But I do want to start understanding what's down the pipeline, right? And seeing what we can get excited about and what can build some enthusiasm. So I think that's what Nintendo needs to do. And I think they need to start just chatting a little bit more.
Real quick, Justin, do you think this, and this is something that's been bothering me too, and we lightly talked about it before while you were gone, but do you think there's a correlation between how you feel and how Nintendo has gone away from their personalities being upfront with their customers and being more back to closed?
I don't know if I ever looked like I had a relationship with Reggie, or that Reggie or any of those people ever really spoke to me in regards to their gamer first approach and that they were advocating. Despite, I think Reggie did a great job presenting. He was still it felt a little bit standoffish, still very corporate, still very kind of CEO. Here's my talking points I had to go through. Someone like Phil Spencer, who genuinely feels like they're kind of in it and is kind of the everyday gamer, right, I think does a really good job for Xbox in regards to that. I think it's just a bit of a, I don't need a public face. And to be honest, not having a public face can also be a benefit to them in regards to, can be anybody as opposed to has to be reliant on somebody. But I just think in general, there just needs to be a little bit more understanding and transparency about maybe what's coming and helping to build out that excitement in general. So again, I don't think it needs a talking point, but I do hear what you're saying in regards to I think what I want is I want Nintendo to treat its fans the way that Xbox treats its fans. That's what I want. Because I feel like to put it mildly, Xbox chases their fans. Right. And I feel like Nintendo is I'm too cool. I'm the pretty girl. You're coming to me. I don't do the work.
What I'm afraid is that Nintendo was in a place where they felt like they needed to chase their fans coming out of the Wii U era.
Yep.
And I feel like now it's the girl who becomes popular and wins prom queen, and it kind of goes to her head.
Yes.
Like what you were saying, it really doesn't mean anything. But in her mind it does. Or a guy who does the same thing, like he becomes the captain of the football team, and really, I mean, in the long run, who at 30 years old, 45 years old, are you still saying I was the captain of the football team, in high school? I don't know. I just think I worry that they've lost the touch of personal that they used to have. Even when they were doing the direct presentations, and there were like Koizumi or whoever was on screen. And yes, it was translated or it was dubbed over, but there was a personal touch there. Doug Bowser has not been hands-on. He has not been personal. And then his counterpart in Japan is not personal and is not hands-on, like in front of the screen. So we went from like Iwata Reggie Dream Team to, hey, we're a business.
Yeah.
Here's some games.
Yeah,
And that was on purpose, I believe.
Definitely slid back into the business structure.
Yeah. I think that was done on purpose. There was, from what
Well,
I
I
understood, a goal to do that.
And I think I've said this before, but part of that with Iwata didn't have a business background. He was a developer. So it's for a developer to get into an executive positions like that is extremely rare. So it makes sense that Nintendo would go back into its business pool of people for executive slots. But you can because of that, is an obvious tonal shift.
Yeah.
Well, great discussion, guys.
Yeah,
and great questions there. And before we end it out, let me just run through real quick for the rest of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you haven't been listening to them, make sure to listen to the Game Pass News guys, Dads After Dark show, and the Retro Logic shows, not just Retro Logic, On Topic Retro and Retro Groove. All have great content out there in the podcasting feeds for you to listen to with their latest and greatest out there. So give them a listen, please. And that's it from our community. Justin, all yours to close, sir.
Perfect. All right. I will close it off. First let's say this, gentlemen, it's great to be back. Thanks for having me today. It's been great. Wonderful to see everyone's lovely face. Let's close it off,
back,
folks.
Sir. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. You guys have done a great job. Let's close this thing off today. Big thanks, huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberg, Solo Something, Alexander Campo, RJ Kern, and Chad Benoist. As a friendly reminder, of course, if you want to use that code NINDADS, NINDADS, it is used for 20% off on Manscaped and 15% off over at Gooder. So don't forget to use that. And hey, by the way, you can actually even use it at Glitch Energy Drink to get 10% off as well. If you like all of our content that we do, why don't you head over to our website, and that is www.nintendodads.org, and you can check out our latest YouTube videos, tweets, and podcast episodes. There's links to our social media and our Patreon page as well. And hey, don't forget that you can stop by the Nintendo Dads shop to pick up some of our sweet Nintendo Dads merch. You can, of course, find us in all of the social media places, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, just by typing in Nintendo Dads. And hey, if you're on those places, give us a sub, give us a follow. Those are great things. And by the way, on our YouTube channel, make sure you ring that bell so that you know when new videos drop, you can see them right away. And we've got some amazing content as well. Hey, if you want to drop us a line, send us an email at nintendodads@gmail.com. Or if you like the way your voice sounds and you like using the telephones and all these kind of things, give us a call at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks, OC Remix. That is the music you hear throughout the show. And by the way, if you're listening to this show, you're probably on a podcast catcher. And if you're doing that, why don't you head over there? You find us in the review section. You put in there 5-star review. I absolutely love Nintendo Dads. They're the best thing in the world. They're the best video game podcast. They're the best parenting podcast. And I love all of them. If you could do that, that'd be fantastic, because more reviews on podcast catchers puts us higher in the rankings, so more people follow us and join our absolutely tremendous community. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it for myself, for Jesse, Tim, and Marty. It's great being back, folks. We've missed you all. Have a great night. Be good to each other. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
I don't know what animal this is or what